Has he left his daring do behind? So far this season, Victory Lane and Bill Elliott have been far apart, but he's won 7 times here in the past. If he can't win here, then where? Legendary crew chief Junior Johnson is back from a suspension that surprised and humiliated him, and he's hot under the collar. Hot under the collar, tight inside the helmet. Forget the feuds, the grievances. There's only one place to settle them. Here at Michigan International Speedway, on the track. In the movie Field of Dreams, Kevin Costner received a message. If you build it, they will come. And soon, a ballpark appeared. Well, that same precept applies here in the Irish Hills of Michigan. For in this beautiful rolling countryside, they built an auto speedway, and, as if by magic or by instinct, people come to see and hear some of the world's greatest drivers. Here, it's calm and quiet. But just down the road, engines are about to fire. And that's where my CBS broadcast colleague Mike Joy is standing by.
Thank you, Chris. Bill Elliott has won here 7 times, but thus far this season, it's been a tough year for you.
Well, no doubt about it. With my mother being sick and my grandma passed away this past week, it's kind of been a tough year. You know, my grandmother was a very instrumental person in what I did, and I lived with her for a period of time, and you know, she helped me, and she was a super person. I sure will miss her on down the road, that's for certain. But as far as season goes, you know, we just hope this is Harry Melling's, as far as my second home, more or less, Harry Melling's first home. He owns a race car. You know, it's in Ford's backyard, and with a good sponsor like Coors, you know, I feel like we can go out here and do what we need to do today.
Okay, good luck today, Bill. A fellow a little further down the grid has certainly turned his season around, and he's with our Neil Bonnet.
Darrell, you got to be feeling good. You know, you've always won races in these things, and now to be winning with your own race car, that's got to be a lot of fun.
Oh, Neil, you know, I was really concerned. As you said, I won for everybody, Rick and Junior and Dygard. I was kind of curious to see if I could do it for myself, and this has just been the most fun I've had in all my career, driving my own cars and doing my own thing and having the success. I never dreamed it'd be this good.
Well, you know, you won 2 races this year, and both of them came out of 13th starting position. You had 13 everywhere you turned around last week, and everybody else came to Michigan trying to set on the pole. How hard was it to get this car in 13th place?
We're standing there. Here's the thing, Neil. Everybody here wants to be number 1. There's 40 or 50 guys here want to be number 1. I want to be number 13. So it's kind of easy. Everybody stood around watching who was going to be where, and I said, 2 more beats, we'll be 13. Yes! And we're in pit 13, I might add. You probably already know that, but we're pitting in pit 13, too.
As long as you don't wear this 13 out, we're going to be in good shape.
If the car don't disappear when it comes into pit one of these days and everybody says, don't be 13 anymore, we're going to be all right.
Well, let's get this 17 from 13th to 1st, and we'll be okay. Here we go, Ken.
Thank you.
Here's the starting lineup for the 23rd annual Michigan 400. On the pole for the 2nd time this season, Michael Waltrip, and alongside his first front row start of the season, Jeff Bodine. Row 2 is Mark Martin, and the hottest driver in the series currently, Davey Allison. Row 3, Alan Kowicki, and the leader in the Winston Cup standings currently, Dale Earnhardt. Row 4, Ricky Rudd, currently number 2 in those standings, and Ken Schrader. For row 5, it's Hut Strickland and Sterling Marlin. Row 6 is Derek Cope and Rick Mast. Row 7 is Darrell Waltrip, who won here in 77 and 84, and Dale Jarrett. Row 8, Morgan Shepherd, the Bud Moore car, and Dave Marcus making his 43rd start at Michigan. Row 9 is Bobby Hillen Jr. and Brett Bodine. In row 10, it's Ernie Urban and Bill Elliott, who's won 7 times here at Michigan. Row 11 is Lake Speed and Harry Gant. For row 12, it's Rusty Wallace in the Roger Penske car, and Jimmy Spencer in the Travis Carter machine. Row 13 is Larry Pearson and Terry Labonte. In row 14, it's Rick Wilson and the 1979 Michigan 400 champion Buddy Baker. Row 15, Bobby Hamilton, the freshman out of Tennessee, and Mickey Gibbs from Alabama. In row 16, it's California's Joe Ruttman and Wisconsin's Jim Sauter. The Colorado youngster, Wally Dallenbach Jr. is on the inside of row 17, and the leading rookie candidate, Ted Musgrave. In row 18, from Chicago, Bill Venturini, and the 4-time winner here at Michigan, Richard Petty. Row 19 is the Alabama rookie, Stan Smith, and Chad Little. Row 20, the Texas row, Eddie Bierswale and 54-year-old H.B. Bailey. And rounding out the field from Alabama, it's number 52, Jimmy Spot Means. And the engines have been turned on, and you couldn't find a larger crowd ever in Michigan history. Largest by far, infield, as well as the grandstand that's been sold out for 4 days, as we prepare for the 23rd Michigan 400. Hello, everyone. You couldn't create a better day for a stock car race than we have here, nor a better racetrack than this 2-mile D-shaped 18-degree bank Michigan International Speedway. My colleague Ned Jarrett's been here for all of them, and as you look back over them, this is the track where we always get down to the finish. That's side-by-side 2 and sometimes 3 abreast.
Ken, the track is so designed that they do run 2, 3, and sometimes 4 abreast on this racetrack. The paving is very wide. They run fast here. In fact, they run 185, 190 miles an hour down into the first turn, which lets them do a lot of drafting. Drafting is a key factor on this racetrack.
And on a 2-mile track, no restrictor plates.
And the drivers like that, too. They can use all of that 650-plus horsepower here this afternoon, and I think we're going to see some great racing. It's windy. There are gusts of 35 to perhaps 40 miles an hour, as evidenced by our hair blowing around here, and that could affect them going into turn 1. And another thing that the drivers are a little bit apprehensive about is the fact that that last crucial practice, that hour of practice yesterday afternoon, was rained out. They didn't get that. Some of them are a little concerned about their car setup here today.
$720,000 in the hopper. 41 cars are at the ready. Get ready for CBS live coverage of the Michigan 400.
This CBS Sports Special, the Michigan 400, is sponsored by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? New Haviland Formula 3 motor oil. Add more life to your car. And by Bud Dry. Why ask why? Try Bud Dry for refreshment that's beyond question.
And welcome back to Michigan International Speedway. Getting set for a start, 3rd time by, and I believe the pace car is going to bring the field down pit road right now to have a gander at what it looks like at the exact speed they are to run when they're on pit road or be penalized. And that penalty was changed this morning, Ned.
Yes, it was. They were told in the drivers' meeting that they would come down pit road no faster than 55 miles per hour. So they're bringing them down now behind the pace car so that they can gauge by the RPMs on their car. Now you can see on Michael Waltrip's car there, the RPMs that his car is turning in whatever gear he has it in, and that's the gear that they would come down pit road. And if they do come down too fast or go out of the pits too fast, they will be assessed a penalty now of going to the rear of the field. In the past, it has been a 1-lap penalty.
So they won't go a lap down, just to the rear of the field. That seems a lot fairer. Take a look at the analysis of the race. The 41 cars starting this event, that's about average for it. We've had 42 a few times. It's 200 laps, 400 miles, and we have a race record here set back in '88 when Rusty Wallace won his first super speedway event right here on this track at 153 miles per hour. Now there's the prize money to be doled out this afternoon among all of the, not all of the participants. It goes all the way back to 41st spot. But it's a pretty handsome payoff with 64 grand to take it as they line up to get set for a go. Thus far this season, those Pontiacs have done pretty well in qualifying. They've been on the pole 4 times. There you see Michael Waltrip's number 30, the car he called Charlene, that's up there on the point. 7 Fords have been on the pole, 2 Chevys and a Buick thus far this season. Only on 4 previous occasions has this race been won from that pole position. Here's Neil Bonnet.
Ken, we're down here with Robert Yates. Boy, you guys the last few weeks have really had that car running. What did it do to you yesterday? We were mentioning before, no practice yesterday. Where's that put you?
Well, you know, yesterday morning it was cool, and it's a little warmer now than it was yesterday morning. We did a lot of practice. The rain washed the rubber off the track, but we're expecting the track to, after 20, 30 laps, to come back to pretty much like it was yesterday morning. We hope a little bit warmer. And, you know, the anxiety that probably most of the people have is the fact that they've just put an engine in. You know, there's a multitude of line and nuts and bolts and all, and just everybody gets their fingers crossed to hope that everything, you know, after a few laps, everything's sorted out. Then everybody gets a sigh of relief. But that's the most anxious that most people are now.
I remember the last time you guys did this, you blew everybody away changing that motor. So I don't think you guys will have any problem with that.
Well, we're happy to be here. We're enjoying running good, and you know, we'd like to have consistency. be great to be in the hunt, you know, for the end of the race. You know, we're just having lots of fun.
Thank you. Here we go to Mike Joy down pit road.
In the garage area here on pit road, one of the big choices these teams have to make in rear racers, what rear race should run. Many teams are running a 356 gear. Some have gone as high as 362, and in the Richard Petty camp, they've got a 370 gear. Now, they'll get a better jump off the corner with that higher RPM, but there is a trade-off. A little less chance of reliability. It should help Richard get to the front. We'll keep an eye on him. Chris?
Well, if you're a sports fan, it's an ideal day. It's 76 degrees. The track temperature is 101. The humidity is 25%. The winds are 5 to 10 miles an hour. It's ideal. It's murder on everybody out on pit road because, as he said earlier, Friday it was 98.8 degrees, track temperature of 122. Yesterday it rained, the rubber's worn off, and everybody is starting, say the crew chiefs, cold turkey. They're going to find out whether the cars are right or wrong in the early going. They say the experienced crew chiefs that guessed on the adjustments, about half the field will be right and half the field will be wrong. We'll better watch for that, Ken.
One of the things you can be sure of is that Earnhardt is pretty close to right in these situations as we get down for a start in the Michigan 400. Here's Michael Waltrip with car number 30 alongside number 11, the Junior Johnson colors for Jeff Bodine. There you see Davey Allison's 28, camped back there on the outside of the second row. Bill Elliott, the last man to win it from the point. He did it in 84 and 85. Benny Parsons did it back in 1980. And the great Bobby Allison for Holman Moody in a Mercury way back in 1971. Sold out. Capacity House comes to its feet. We've got green.
Michael Waltrip got off to a good start. You know, he wanted to get into that turn one first, and he did it.
Michael Waltrip, who's put together some very good runs of recent in a car that he likes a lot. This is the car that had a 3rd and 4th place finish down at Charlotte a year ago.
You see a little dust fly there as they went across where the traffic came into the infield. Jeff Bodine now right on his back bumper going into turn 3.
Round for the first time. And it's young Michael Waltrip up in front, sitting on the pole for the second time in his career. Did it in Dover, Delaware earlier this year. And here comes Bodine down to the inside to take it away from Waltrip.
And Bodine led the race. You know, Ken, only 7 of the 22 pole winners here, or 7 of the 22 did not lead the first lap, and now Michael Waltrip falls victim to that as well.
And it's the 3rd lap that Bodine has led this entire season. Remember, he's driving with 3 broken ribs. He punctured a lung. In practice, here's Derek Cope's car number 10, the former Daytona 500-mile champion, in the Whitcomb car, slowing down here in the 2nd lap. A sour season, which he had hoped to turn sweet today. Not that way for Derek Cope.
He had a good qualifying run, started 11th. But here comes Bodine again at the start-finish line and takes the lead one more time.
Inside of Michael Waltrip's car. And there you see them with a couple of Fords, 1st and 3rd, in a Pontiac sandwiched in the middle down in turns 1 and 2 up on the 18-degree banking.
Ken, that wind we were talking about is blowing from the 4th turn down to turn 1, which lets them get in there a good bit faster than they normally would. Of course, the wind is gusty, and could play an important role here.
It's right on the nose of the car as you go down the back straightaway now.
Yes. Now let's see if Michael Waltrip can come up and draft past Bodine like Bodine has been doing him.
There's Darrell Waltrip right in the middle of a skirmish with Harry Gant up on the outside. Lake Speed down on the bottom. Bobby Hill and the Kyle Petty ride just in front, and that's the 20th place car now.
Yeah, Darrell is going backwards right now. His car apparently not handling too well, and he's one of those that Chris Economack was talking about, maybe a victim of not being able to practice yesterday afternoon.
Here's Derek Cope on the pit road. Mike Joy is with him.
And it's engine trouble, Ken. They're going to lift off these cowl plates that sit behind the hood and try to get access to both the carburetor and the distributor. The engine just shut off.
Back on the racetrack, coming around to complete 4 this time. Bodine in front, Michael Waltrip in 2nd, Mark Martin in 3rd. Earnhardt is up to 4th, Allison 5th. Alan Kawicki has dropped his spot to 6th. From inside, Michael Waltrip's car.
See as he's drafting on the Ford of Jeff Bodine. Bodine goes a little bit low there, which will have a tendency to break that draft a little bit coming off of that turn. Michael should be able to pick it up on the straightaway. However, he's not picking up too much on Jeff Bodine as we normally see here on the straightaways when they pick up the draft.
Turn 3.
Bodine with a good line into turn 3, drifts up just a little bit. They don't run right on the bottom of the racetrack, at least at this point of the race. They drift up a little bit, and seeing Davey Allison pull to the inside there trying to make a move just as he came out of that turn.
Sterling Marlin on the move, picking off some cars. He's coming up in the second Junior Johnson machine.
This will be audio only.
Neil Bonnet.
Yeah, we listened earlier when Ned was mentioning that Waltrip was falling back. Darrell Waltrip, about the time that was mentioned, I saw the guys go to the 2-box and grab a wedge wrench. The chassis off just a little bit, and they're going to have to make an adjustment as soon as they can.
That's the story on why 17 is faded from that 13th starting position. But he can fade to half distance and still be very much around. Right now, he's back in 23rd.
So he has dropped 10 positions here in just 6 laps.
Sterling Marlin, the 22, comes clambering up through the field. He's into 8th now with car number 22.
They're the first 4 that we saw on the screen. Of course, the leader is Jeff Bodine, then Michael Waltrip, Mark Martin, and Davey Allison.
Richard Petty has climbed from 36th to 29th in those first 6 laps. Here's Sterling Marlin pulling just in front of Hut Strickland in the 12. And that is the story for 8th and 9th. Back to the leaders. And look at this skirmish in second spot at 180 miles an hour. Thank you, Mark Martin, down at the bottom. Here comes Davey Allison down low. Michael Waltrip pinned high.
Yeah, David decided that's not the smart thing to do, to try to go in there that fast on the inside of Mark Martin. When he backed off then, Michael Waltrip pulled up beside of him.
On the backside, it's straight into the wind. 40-mile-per-hour gusts back there. Jeff Bodine leading this event, looking for his 11th Winston Cup victory. He's qualified well here year after year since he first came in 1982. Here's Davey Allison ducking to the bottom on Michael Waltrip's yellow and red number 30.
Allison's car is fast. It has been fast almost all year. He has a lot of horsepower under the hood of his Ford, but still not enough to move around Michael Waltrip without the aid of draft.
Bill Elliott further back is pulled from 20th to 14th as he's following Ernie Irvin, who's come from 19th to 13th. Look at this battle up in front from the perspective of Michael Waltrip at 180 miles an hour down in the corner, just slightly dancing those cars. Bodine and Mark Martin in the bottom is going to take number 6 up into the lead. 3 wide for second spot.
That's the kind of racing we were talking about at the top of the show. They can go 3 wide on this racetrack. Sometimes we might see them go 4 wide. The fans love it.
Chris Economaki.
Well, we've got here 4 cars, and now maybe only 2 are starting to pull away. These men obviously have the cars set right for today's race. And in the 22 years this race has been run, no winner has ever lapped the field. The margin of victory here has been very small, but here we see a couple of cars that are set up better than the rest starting to pull away.
Looking further back in the field, here's Ernie Irvin on a roll in the car number 4. He's currently in 12th. Irvin rolling up through, showing the 12th position now.
He started 19th, Ken. It's no big surprise to see him coming up through the field like that. He was disappointed with his qualifying run, but he's a Charger, and everybody expected him to come up through the pack, and he has caught the lead pack now. Dale Jarrett right behind him there, running in the 13th position.
Jarrett having a very good start to this race in the Wood Brothers car. Looks like that 11 car is falling back a bit here.
Jeff Bodine definitely is off the pace.
Jeff Bodine backing up dramatically here. This taking place in the 10th lap. Mike Joy.
Well, as one of those Fords backs up and Davey Allison moves to the front, Ken, this is the same car that he so dominated Charlotte Speed Week at the end of May. And he told me then he was going to put that car up on blocks and leave it there till the October Charlotte race as he looks underneath Mark Martin for the lead. So I quizzed him yesterday. He said he got a strong suggestion to bring that car up here, I suspect from somebody at Ford Motor Company, and that's why they're running that same car here today. That could be bad news for the rest of the field.
Mike, there might be bad news as we see Jeff Bodine on the pit road. Ricky Rudd, some smoke coming out of his car as he went into turn 1. Now let's go to the pits and Neil Bonnet.
Jeff Bodine just came in. They got in a big scramble down here all of a sudden. He must have called left sides. He's making a call that a tire felt bad, and they pulled the lefts only and went back out. We'll check and see if that tire was down.
And remember, they're not running. There's the number 20, Buddy Baker, slowing down in the Moroso car. They're running not on bias ply, or rather running on bias ply, not on radials here today at Michigan. Here's Baker's car coming in. This at lap 12. Buddy Baker, the 1979 winner of this event. And you can see a tire mark circling the number on car number 20 as he comes in.
Yeah, he's been a little close to someone out there. Buddy was really excited about this race today. Felt he had a good chance of a good finish. Here's Ricky Rudd. I mentioned a moment ago, Ken, that he had some smoke coming from the car, but we don't see it there. Now, normally when he goes into turn 1, he's headed off at turn 4. If we can follow him all the way down the straightaway here, we'll see what happens. And here's Davey Allison going for the lead.
Ford against Ford, going into turn 1. They're reporting that Ricky Rudd showed a lot of tire smoke, but it was so dramatic that they thought it might be something more.
Yeah, the right rear quarter panel is bent in. He has gotten against someone, and it might be just at one place on the racetrack that the tire is touching just a little bit, causing some smoke.
First 10 laps at an average speed of 165.2 miles per hour. 168.2. 168.224. Battle for third coming up. Here's Michael Waltrip getting into it with Schrader, the Chevrolet of Ken Schrader from the Hendrick Racing stable down to the bottom, and challenging Michael Waltrip. This is for third. Working lap 15.
Schrader started in the 8th position and will go inside of Michael's car as Schrader moves around him.
Ever so light on that steering wheel as he gets through 1 and 2.
Michael driving hard here today for his team. His car owner Chuck Ryder and his wife Pat are celebrating their 28th wedding anniversary today. Pat is back in Charlotte, North Carolina, watching our telecast today.
She was the big star of Pocono last week. They had a special celebration up there. Ryder family, who contributed so much to Winston Cup racing the past 5 or 6 years. Now look at this battle in front again. Here's Davey Allison.
Let's see if he can make it stick this time.
Davey has had engine trouble the last 3 years here. He had a great finish. Back in 88, took second behind Rusty Wallace, but he's had engine problem after engine problem. And here comes Buddy Baker back in with car number 20 another time.
Yeah, he's got some serious problems with the right front there. I don't know if it's a brake caliper or something that's gone awry on this car, but something definitely wrong.
Back with the leaders, and here's that battle up in front, featuring Davey Allison in first, Mark Martin in second. Schrader stays third. Michael Waltrip is in fourth. Alan Kawicki fifth.
And in 6th place is Dale Earnhardt. 7th is Morgan Shepherd. Ricky Rudd is 8th. 9th is Ernie Irvin. Hud Strickland is 10th.
15-second penalty being given to Buddy Baker for a little excessive speed down on pit road. Jeff Bodine, 3 1/10 seconds from going a lap down. So something amiss. He came in, got those tires changed. Now he's praying for a quick caution that can put him back in the hunt. Here's Chris Economaki.
We're with Derek Cope, last year's Daytona 500 winner, and unfortunately the first man out of this year's race. Was under the hood problems, I understand. You guys had some crew chief changes. Was that the reason?
What kind of changes?
What went wrong with the engine? Was it something that one of your crew people didn't do right?
Well, I couldn't hear what you said. Right now, what happened today, we just had some motor problems right off the bat of the race, and I think it broke a rod or did something. And the car felt good. The Pure Leather Chevrolet felt good the first 2 corners I took, and other than that, I hate to give this race up.
If you'd have had a chance to practice yesterday, would you have found it then?
More than likely, it probably would have broke it then. They don't normally hold off. It would have broke it if we'd have got the last practice session in. So we just didn't get a chance to check the motor. We changed that motor after the last practice session we had.
Better luck next time. Derek Cope out of the race.
And Chris, they had a change of general managers with that team. Greg Whitcomb, who was the general manager, he's the son of Bob Whitcomb, who owns Derek Cope's car, and Greg has gone back on the pro golf tour. Bob Tomlinson has been hired as the general manager of the team.
Who was over with the Cale Yarborough team.
Exactly.
Back straightaway, there you see those Fords up in front. Davey Allison, Mark Martin, and now let's look a little further back. Take a look at number 15. This is Morgan Shepherd in the Bud Moore car, and what a run he's having here today.
He is running very good, up to 7th place from 15th.
And there's Ernie Urban, who's come up to 9th, just behind the 5 car, Ricky Rudd, the yellow car. That's a good run for him, too. But an excellent run being shown by Morgan Shepherd, who started in 15th, currently in 7th, then Ricky Rudd, Ernie Urban, Hut Strickland, and Sterling Marlin. Continuing to move up through comes Morgan Shepherd. Looks like he's going to be a contender all day. And we'll return with more live coverage of the Michigan 400 after this message and a word from your local station. Averaging 168 miles an hour after 20 laps, it's Davey Allison in front. In second, 1 2/10 seconds back is Ken Schrader. And it's a few car lengths back to Mark Martin. Michael Waltrip finds himself in 4th. Alan Kowicki is in 5th. And there's a good battle developing on the racetrack for 6th with an involvement of 7 to 8 cars. Here you see Davey Allison cranking out some tremendous laps in the early going.
Here's that battle for 6th, Ken. Morgan Shepherd is currently in that position. Morgan had pulled away from this crew, but he lost the draft of the front group of cars. Now Ernie Urban has pulled Dale Earnhardt and others up there to him.
So Urban comes up to 7th, and Earnhardt has fallen to 8th, and he has a crease on the right side door of car number 3. Coming back to the stripe, 9th is Hut Strickland, and in 10th is Ricky Rudd, followed by Sterling Marlin and Dale Jarrett. Bill Elliott just behind them.
Yeah, Bill is right on the tail end. There are 8 cars that are running in this draft that we see 4 of them here on our screen, and then there are 4 more just right behind there, so they're having a good battle. There you can see Ricky Rudd coming into the picture. And that smoke that we saw a little bit earlier on Ricky Rudd's car, we haven't noticed it anymore. So I think it was just a piece of sheet metal rubbing against the tire for a couple of laps, and it apparently has gone away, so he's still out there running good.
Average speed staying right up around 168 miles an hour, and here's Earnhardt taking another look on the outside.
Yeah, look how high he is going on this racetrack, Ken. Normally, we don't see him running that high until a little bit later in the race, but he's searching around. I don't think his car is working quite as well as he would like for it to, so he's searching around on the racetrack for a good, comfortable place to run.
Morgan Shepherd in the 15 running as good as he's ever finished here right now. He's never finished better than 8th going back to 1981 or 82. Here's the number 4 car, Ernie Urban. They get back into it again. Down to the bottom. Ernie Urban picking up another spot. Started 19th, and that puts him up into 6th. Here's Chris.
Well, you know, earlier today, Jeff Bodine had to make a pit stop to get a problem solved. He came back out. It showed us one thing, that he could stop and get out without losing a lap. He came out just in front of Davey Allison, and now he is pulling away. Jeff Bodine may well be the fastest man on the track right now, just about a lap behind.
An unscheduled pit stop for Alan Kowicki in the pits. There he is. They're changing the right side tires on his car. This is definitely unscheduled. They shouldn't be coming in for another 15 or 18 laps. And it looks like they're going around. They're going to change all 4. I'll bet he had a tire to equalize, and he perhaps don't know which one it was. So we're losing a lot of time. He will probably go a lap down. In fact, Davey Allison is coming off of turn 4 right now. So Alan Kowicki, even though it was a good pit stop, a little over 24 seconds, he is going a lap down.
Let's talk a little about tires equalizing then.
Well, of course, they're running the bi-ply tires here, Ken, and they're more subject to do that. And when they equalize, they have an inner tire in these on these cars, an inner tire and an outer tire. And when the air pressure of the 2 gets to be the same, then it'll cause a vibration.
Ford Chevrolet battle here for 2nd place. And there you see for the 2nd position at the moment, the number 6 of Mark Martin and then Ken Schrader right there with him. And swapping that one around a bit. And for the moment, it is Ford 1st and 2nd, Chevrolet in 3rd, and the Pontiac of Michael Waltrip is back of them in 4th. Struggling out here today, Rusty Wallace, he's back in 22nd and hasn't gained ground. He really needed that practice training period yesterday at the end of the day that was rained out. They had lost the motor, gone to a backup motor for the 2nd day of qualifying in the Roger Penske organization. Don Miller chiefing that.
And another driver, excuse me, Ken, another driver that's had a little bit of trouble here today is Rick Mast, who started up in 12th place, but Rick has drifted back to 29th right now. His car not handling well at all.
Into 3 goes Mark Martin in car number 6. Back to the leader. Take a look at how much interval has developed on this car, number 28. Davey Allison just drawing away from the field. He looks like the shot that we saw on CBS fired at the Charlotte Motor Speedway when he ran away from everyone in the Winston and came right back and did it the next week in the Coca-Cola 600. And his interval is just immense. It's a second and a half by which the 28 is leading the second place man, Mark Martin, going down the back straightaway. Here's Chris.
I'm just watching some of these cars.
To Neil Bonnet. Let's go to Neil Bonnet.
Ken, here we are in the pits. This is Alan Kowicki's pit. He just pitted. You can see the cut in this tire right here. He didn't equalize one, which is hard to tell on the racetrack. He actually cut the tire with the inner liner. You can't tell which one. He had to just sell them all 4, and this was the culprit right here that cost him a lap.
So that's the story on the Alan Kowicki effort, which had started so well today with a 5th qualifying position.
Now that lap will be hard to make up, Ken, but if there is no caution before the others have to come in for their regular pit stops, then he would get back in the lead lap. He'd be out of sequence as far as the pit stops are concerned, but at least he'd get him back in the lead lap.
Chris?
Well, I was just watching Davey Allison doing so well all by himself. Ned, with all of the aerodynamic advancements that these cars have had in recent years and months, I'm wondering if drafting may not be as necessary today as it was, let's say, a year ago. He's got nobody with him, and he's running away all by himself. And Jeff Bodine is out in front of him doing very well all alone as well.
Well, it perhaps is not as important, or maybe not quite as effective as it might have been a number of years ago, and I think you hit the nail on the head, is the fact that the cars are so aerodynamic today. But even back in the field where there are 4, 5, 6 cars running together, they are using the draft. But when you have the horsepower that Davey Allison has under the hood of this car, it's generally recognized in the garage area that he has the strongest engine of all the cars.
Strongest, I'll say, first to second position, 3 7/10 seconds. That's the biggest lead anyone has ever developed this early in the Michigan 400. Next Saturday, CBS Sports coverage of Major League Baseball continues at 1 p.m. Eastern with 2 division matchups. In the National League East, the St. Louis Cardinals visit the Chicago Cubs, and in the American League East, the Baltimore Orioles host the Boston Red Sox. Check your local listings for the game in your area. Then, it's the 3rd round coverage of the Federal Express St. Jude Classic from the Tournament Players Club at Southwind in Germantown, Tennessee. That's next Saturday here on CBS Sports.
And the caution is out here, Ken, for the first time today. We understand there's debris over in turn 2. Could be an advantage for Ken Schrader, who was running 3rd. He had just made entrance on the pit road. His crew saw the yellow came out, send him on back around, so he's back in there. Disadvantage for Alan Kowicki, who had made that pit stop and lost the lap in the green. Good for Jeff Bodine, who was running right in front of the leader. So, you know, some gain and some don't. Here's the debris.
There's some of the parts and pieces they've got to remove. They were averaging 168.486 miles per hour. Chris?
Well, this is good for everybody because those adjustments that you were talking about not having been made before the race can be made now. Also, it gives them a chance to check on the fuel mileage to see just what kind of mileage they're getting out of their fuel cells. So this should make a different race once the green reappears.
There you see the 43 of Richard Petty currently running in 24th position. 2 weeks ago in the race at Sears Point, Richard was involved in a horrendous wreck that left him on crutches with injuries to his legs and shoulders. Earlier this morning, Chris Economaki caught up with the King and asked about his condition.
What do your doctors say?
Just said stay off my leg for about 6, 8 weeks, and I go back every week and he re-examines it, and as long as the bone's not moved any, then he's not going to have to operate. The rest of it's just, you know, it takes 3 or 4 weeks for all the bruises to go away.
Where are you going to put the crutch when the race starts? In the pits or in the car?
I ain't going to put it in the car, that's for sure. If I got to get away from the car, I'll figure some way to get away from it. But I give it back to him and let him hang it in the truck.
This kind of stuff make you think about quitting, Richard?
Not really. I think it makes you all that much more determined to get out there and do your thing, because you know you're that much closer to the end of your career. So, you know, I don't think that it really affects me one way or the other. It's just a deal that, you know, I don't have to do this, but I want to do it, and even with a hurting deal, I still want to do it. So that's the reason I do it.
He told me the other morning, I said, how are you feeling? He says, I'm doing great. I'm down to one crutch. He'd been on two when he first got here. There's the 43 being rolled away. Richard Petty. Dale Inman was saying that that car that was crashed at Sears Point, he said there was nothing to save. And he said there's only a few good parts left on our driver.
Yeah, he got banged up pretty good, but I'll tell you, he's tough. He just keeps on coming back. Just about everybody came in, Ken, for a pit stop, and it looks like most of them took on 4 tires, as was expected.
So pit road is clear, the field is assembled, and the track has been cleared up from the debris left in turn number 2. First caution of the day coming out for lap 34. Here's Bill Venturini's car right in behind the number 7 of Alan Kowicki. We're about 2 laps away from a restart, and we'll be back in a moment. One lap to green. That'll be lap 39. Let's go to Neil Bonnet.
Ken, we're down here with Davey Allison's crew. Everybody pitted on that caution and turned a lot of wrenches and did a lot of work on the car. This 28 car didn't do anything. The way that thing's running, they're ready to go racing. Let's go to Mike Joy down with Mark Martin.
Steve Hamill is Mark's team manager, and what's Mark saying on the radio?
Oh, he's pretty good. He said the car drives good. Engine runs real good. We're just a little bit loose with cars right behind us. That's a problem for everybody. He says he's just going to live with it. He's nervous about getting too tight when he's by himself, so we're going to run loose while we can.
Now, Daytona's the biggest race of the year, but being this close to Detroit, is this as or maybe even more important?
It's different. You know, we have a lot of friends up here. Everybody enjoys seeing them, and we enjoy them getting a chance to watch us run our race cars. They expect us to win, too, so there's quite a bit of pressure on everybody here up and down pit road.
For the moment, Mark Martin has the lead. Dale Earnhardt is in second as we prepare for the restart. Davey Allison is in third with the 28 car. Then Michael Waltrip fourth, Morgan Shepherd fifth, Ernie Irvin sixth, Rudd seventh, Gant eighth, Marlin ninth, Darrell Waltrip 10th, Hud Strickland 11th, Dale Jarrett's in 12th, and Bill Elliott is in 13th. There you see the 7 car, Alan Kowicki about to attempt to make up a lap.
Yes, he pulls up beside of the leader, which is legal in this type of racing. All those cars we see down on the inside are 1 or more laps down.
At this point, we still have 35 cars being shown in the lead lap net.
That is correct.
Shifting up.
Yep, shifting into 4th gear. Now we're looking at the back of his car from the bumper cam at Morgan Shepherd as they move around those lap cars. That's Ernie Irvin in the yellow car up on the outside.
Let's go back into the lead. And what a fracas there.
Well, Alan Kowicki didn't get the jump that he wanted to be out front to get his lap back, but Dale Earnhardt is doing something he wanted to do, and that was get out front and lead at least 1 lap, because that'll give him 5 bonus Winston Cup points. And Earnhardt, there you see him come into the picture. He will lead this lap.
The adjustments they made on the Richard Childress car, very helpful. Take a look at that. That Chevrolet pops back up there to a 4-car length advantage. A fortuitous pit stop for Earnhardt in the 3 as he jumps back in front of Mark Martin, Davey Allison, Mike Waltrip, those front cars. There's the Kowicki car still trying to stay up there and losing ground, falling back.
Yeah, Alan came in for a pit stop, but his car apparently not quite fast enough to get up there to get back in front of him.
Remember, he qualified 5th. Taking a look from Michael Waltrip's vantage as he comes out of turn 4 and hustles down to the start-finish line.
Now you can see the shaded windshield on half of the car, Ken, on the right side of the car. Helps, especially late in the day here as they start going into the sun.
Keep it a little cooler?
Well, I guess it helps keep it a little cooler too, but it helps the glare more than anything.
Richard Petty always tried that.
Yeah. And you can see he even has some shade at the top of the windshield as well, directly in front of him. Has to decelerate going into the turns. You can hear him back off the engine just a little bit, get the car set, and then accelerate fully off the turn.
Coming back, Earnhardt is getting caught up at that, and here comes the man that can catch him. 28, Davey Allison scoots down to the bottom of the racetrack, goes underneath Mark Martin and closes. And really closes in 1. A 5-car length interval disappeared down to about 2, and coming out of turn number 2. A little more torque in that 28.
Yeah, watch him when he comes
Catch him
down
up.
this straightaway. Now, when he gets into turn 3, he'll be right on his bumper or either up beside of him. Let's see which it is going to be. He might have to back off going into turn 3. He couldn't get quite enough momentum. He gained a lot, but not quite enough. But let's see, when Davey has been particularly strong coming off of turn 4. He gets about 2 car lengths behind him. That'll let him pick up the draft. Alan Kwick is still hanging tight down there on the inside of Mark Martin.
Stays right down on the bottom as he tries to make up that lap. It's a Chevy Ford battle for the lead in the Michigan 400 at 43 laps. Here's Davey Allison nosing down to the bottom.
Now, we saw Earnhardt before, Ken. He was running very high on the racetrack. He's staying lower now than he did back then, so they did a little adjustment on the car. Perhaps they changed the stagger on the tires, which is letting it stick a little bit better down on the inside of the racetrack.
The average speed has dropped down to 145 miles per hour after that caution period. Here's Davey trying to close it in again, and there you see Mark Martin in 3rd, with Ernie Irvan being shown in 4th and Morgan Shepherd 5th. Neil Bonnet.
Ken, we were talking about the speed that Davey Allison is capable of running. Ned mentioned earlier that it's no secret that Davey has got the most horsepower in the garage area now. That's allowing him to do 2 things. Robert Yates said they're pulling a higher gear that lets Davey hold the throttle wide open all the way going in the first turn. I talked to Childress and some of the other teams yesterday to run comparable speeds. They're pulling real low gears, and the Chevrolet drivers and some of the other guys are actually having to roll out the throttle at the end of the front straightaway to keep slinging the valves out of the motor. So Davey's got a lot of power with a tall gear, and once he gets out front, he's able to stretch it every now and then.
Neil, where do you crack the throttle going down that back straightaway where you have to pinch it a little going into 3?
They turn just as you turn off the wall and roll into the flat area, they'll roll out of the throttle, not jump out of it, but feed it in these big corners and then feed the throttle down. But where they're really seeing a big benefit with this horsepower is at the end of this front straightaway, and that's where Davey was able to eat them alive early in the race.
Now, we're seeing one thing here. We saw Davey Allison catch Dale Earnhardt very easy there a moment ago. I thought that he might blow on by him, but we also heard Steve Meal, who's the team manager on Mark Martin's car, say that Mark had complained about the car being a little bit loose when another car is behind him or traffic around him. That's one of the problems they've had with the Ford race cars this year. And that might be what's happening with Davey now, that he's up there behind Earnhardt. Now, if he could get out in front of him, I think he would drive off and leave him.
Let's take a look at the running order after 43 laps. This is the complete running order, and there again you see that car number 28 leap down into turn number 1, and then Earnhardt just dance away from him by several car lengths, looking further back through the field here. And that car number 17, Waltrip, may have gotten some of his handling problems solved. He's up to 9th.
He made a good pit stop, Ken, gained several positions there, and he came out in 10th, as a matter of fact, and now has moved around another car to move up to 9th.
And he was back in 23rd.
Yeah.
So there's the running order back through the field. That's showing 45 laps. We're working 46 at the present time. And we'll come back to it in a moment and show you the rest of it as the field comes down this straightaway. And we look at, here comes Davey Allison trying the outside. Earnhardt trying to just move him up in that groove a little.
Yes.
Intimidating.
Yeah, he's not one of the easiest persons to pass, period, but particularly on the outside.
Remember Daytona this year here on CBS when it was Earnhardt and Allison. Kyle Petty as well in that melee in the final moments. Mark Martin just looking over this situation. Ernie Irvan 4th, Morgan Shepherd staying 5th, Michael Waltrip 6th, Hut Strickland 7th. Into 8th, Harry Gant, and 9th, Waltrip, with 10th belonging to Sterling Marlin. Here's Davey making another shot. Gets it down on the bottom this time. And Earnhardt has made a great recovery after suffering through those first 30 laps. That caution was fortuitous for him.
Now, Davey got a good run that time off of turn 2. I believe he'll get him going into turn 3 if the car will stick down on the inside. Don't have to stick. He's going to beat him in there.
That's Robert Yates' horsepower. That's what we saw at Charlotte. But now he fades up the track, and look what's going to happen
Yeah,
here.
it'll have to stick. I started to say it'll have to stick for him to stay out there, but it didn't have to stick for him to get in there first. But Dale Earnhardt come back in a hurry down on the inside.
3-car battle for the lead. The Michigan 400 live here on CBS. To the line. Martin drives into the bottom of the racetrack. Mark Martin looking for the hole. He's got it.
And here they go, 3 abreast, but Mark Martin says this is not the place to be in the middle of that sandwich, so he backs out of it.
It's only the 49th lap. The 200th lap, maybe. 199 for sure coming out of that corner, but here comes Earnhardt back to the bottom another time.
I know the time before when Davey went in there, had him completely cleared, got into that turn. He thought, well, I got him now, but he drifted up a little bit, and here Earnhardt came back again on the inside.
Earnhardt using up a lot of racetrack that time, and here comes Allison back on the bottom. Going to turn 1, it's Bobby Allison for the lead, and a much higher line by Dale Earnhardt as he sails in after him.
He just drives so much deeper into the turn than Davey is able to do right now, and that's where he's beating Davey Allison right now, is in the turns.
Chris?
We're looking at the greatest stock car drivers in the world right now. We're talking about ability, but there's more than ability on display here. There's bravura. Believe me, these guys chew nails and spit rust. That door handle at those speeds. There you saw Earnhardt's car get a little bit sideways up high on the track. Up high on the track, there's not as much grip as there is down low. These guys are giving us a show today.
Well, there's no question about that. Look at Mark Martin now. He saw enough of that up there that he picked him a spot. He said, maybe I can take the measure of Dale Earnhardt. Well, but he can't do it either. He has to back off going into the turn.
And look who's mixing it up. Hut Strickland, number 12, gets into it big time. Here comes Hut, the Alabama driver for Bobby Allison. He has moved his way through the field, and Strickland, who had a good qualifying run in 9th, is right up there battling with these leaders. Earnhardt first, Allison second. Talk about the tight competition that Chris was mentioning a moment ago. Look at this from the last lap from another camera angle. That's Earnhardt in the 3, Allison in the 28, Mark Martin back there in the 6.
And look how close he moves up on Dale Earnhardt, and actually gives him a little bit of a bump there, Ken.
How about that for 180 miles an hour? Just to let you know I'm here.
Brett Bodine in the pits for an unscheduled pit stop in the Kenny Bernstein car.
Little bell ringing out here this afternoon, folks, as we watch it live once again with 52 laps complete, and Davey Allison squirms down to the inside. Here comes the Chevrolet back in this great Michigan 400. We'll be back with more of the excitement in a moment. This Michigan 400 race summary is sponsored by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil. 52 laps down. We've had lead changes 10 times. That's the official lead changes. It's about 23 if you count them all the way around the track net among 4 different drivers. The average speed dwindling down to 150 mile an hour average after we had a 1 caution period of just 3 laps. And only 1 car has officially retired from the race here in this 2-mile oval. That's Derek Cope, who went out very early at lap 2. We're back with you at lap 56, and we're watching Earnhardt and Strickland battling, and it's Hut Strickland putting the Buick up in front. Buick going up on the board for the first time as the leader of the race. That puts Earnhardt in second in a Chevrolet, and Davey Allison third and a fourth. They do a big thing here in the Detroit area and ask the crowd which manufacturer they support. It's like the old days at the Charlotte Motor Speedway back in the 60s, and there was a tremendous ovation for the Chevy and for the Ford fans today. But there was a pretty good plaque for Oldsmobile here. They brought out several hundred people from one of their plants.
Yeah, and Pontiac. Buick perhaps got the least, but I'll bet there's some Buick fans surfacing now in the stands because that's Strickland doing a great job. That car has really been running good. That's the Bobby Allison-owned car. And at most of the super speedways, even back to the Daytona 500, he was running very, very strong in that race, and of course got caught up in a wreck, but got to hand it to Jimmy Finnick and the crew. They have done a good job in putting that in front.
Gave us a great race in the Winston here on CBS as well. By 6-7 car lengths, that Bobby Allison Buick pulls away with Hut Strickland at the keyboard. Looking further back, and here is battle for 6, car number 30, and comes number 33, Harry Gant, closing on Michael Waltrip.
Now, Gant started pretty far back in this field. He qualified in the second round of qualifying, Ken, and has had to work his way up through the pack. He started 22nd, but now finds himself in 7th position and moving in on Michael Waltrip for 6th. And we're looking out the back of Michael Waltrip's car at Harry Gant.
Those Waltrips are all around Gant. Here you see Harry. He's in the middle of the Waltrip gang because it's Darrell directly behind him in 8th spot. Darrell, whose Chevy started in 13th today, closing a little on Gant. And remember, the Waltrip theory seems to be the same axiom that worked for Richard Petty for so many years. Hang around till halfway. Then we'll see what happens. And he's hanging around right up here in the top 10. Where you see the green and white, number 33, Harry Gant, then Alan Kowicki's lap car. And following that, Darrell Waltrip in the 17, who seems to have found the rabbit's foot in number 13. H.B. Bailey, the 54-year-old, the elder driver out here today.
Had a good run yesterday in an ARCA race here that was shortened, but H.B. finished in 5th place, one of his best finishes in a long, long time. One of the rookie contenders this year, Ted Musgrave, just had to come in for a black flag deal. The window net was down on his car, came loose, so he had to come in and get that repaired.
Musgrave became a father last night once again. Had his 3rd child last night.
Well,
yep.
Congratulations.
Chris?
Well, for those of you who are interested in nameplates, when the field took the green flag, there were 11 Chevys in the field, 10 Pontiacs, 10 Fords, 6 Oldsmobiles, and only 4 Buicks, one of which is out front now.
This is the 3rd race that Hutt has led this year. He led at Charlotte. He led at Darlington. He gave us a great race at Daytona. Nice young guy, good-looking young driver. And he's part of that Alabama contingent. And there they are, the Alabama contingent currently going 1st and 2nd. The Alabama gang carrying those colors here in the state of Michigan this afternoon before a record crowd, by far the largest turnout ever at this 2-mile racing facility.
Hutt's trying to give himself a birthday present, an early one, Ken. Tomorrow's his birthday. So he should run out front there and try to get himself a nice gift.
Bobby will bake the cake. Tell you that, if this kid can pull one off here today, having an excellent run. Davey Allison saying 2nd. Hutt's best career finish was a 4th, which has come on this track 2 years ago for Rod Osterlund. We'll return with more live coverage of the Michigan 400 after this message and a word from your local station.
This CBS Sports Special, the Michigan 400, is sponsored by Goodyear, the unanimous choice of every single team that races in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Mobil 1 synthetic motor oil. Isn't your car worth the extra protection? And by Autolite spark plugs, guaranteed for 2 years no matter how far you go.
CBS is live with you this afternoon for the 23rd running of the Michigan 400, where young Hutt Strickland from Alabama is the current leader, and his cousin, almost, Davey Allison, is in 2nd place. Ernie Irvin is holding 3rd. Dale Earnhardt finds himself 4th, and it's Mark Martin for the moment in the 5th position.
When you say cousin, Hutt Strickland did marry Davey Allison's cousin, Pam, who is the daughter of Donnie Allison, brother of Bobby Allison.
And Pam was introduced to Hutt by that guy in number 28.
All right.
Davey Allison.
He said, maybe I shouldn't have brought him into the family if he's going to outrun me this way.
Davey Allison's grandfather, Pops, says he has known right along what was wrong with that 12 car. He said that the problem was that they had a number 12 on the car and that Hutt was wearing a number 9 shoe. He said, you go into my closet and you get a size 12 shoe and we'll get that thing up front. And I think it was 3 weeks ago he told him that. Here's Mike Joy.
Well, Ken, we're surrounded by the Alabama gang here today. Donnie Allison's here. Bobby's here watching his car run. 2 of the young fellas from front. Neil Bonnet's on pit road. Jimmy Fennick, the crew for this operation. And Jimmy, I've talked to you a couple of times this season, say it's a nice surprise to see Hutt up front, but it's not a surprise anymore.
No, we've been running pretty good. Today we're pretty good out there right now. We're pretty comfortable with it. We'll just have to see as the day goes on, but the Ray Bestis AC Tic Tac Buick's running pretty good.
Now, how is this a better race car right now than it was in the first run of green flag racing?
We changed the stagger a little bit on the car, and it seems to loosen up a little bit. We were too tight at first.
You're not from Alabama, are you?
No.
Too bad.
Well, you really know how to hurt a guy, Mike. Take a look at Jeff Bodine back here, and I mean back, and what ground he has made up. Bodine is now being shown in 10th position. Remember, he fell all the way to the rear of the field, Ned, and he was once just 2 seconds from being lapped, and certainly changed that.
Caution came out. He was running about 2 seconds in front of Davey Allison, who was leading the race at that time. Caution came out. He came in, got 4 new tires on it, made a good pit stop, but still came out in about 20th or 22nd position, and has just flat came up through the field, passing whatever car he catches, and has moved into the top 10 now.
Showing some smoke right there for a moment as he came out of 4.
Yes, he did. As we were talking about him, there is definitely
burned it
smoke coming from his car. Oh, what a tough break. Boy, he was really coming back towards the front.
The Junior Johnson car number 11 up in smoke. Here's Neil. Neil Bonnet.
Yeah, I'm down here with Junior Johnson. I was just talking to Junior. They're running a lot faster lap times than the leaders were, but they were in the rear. But just as we were talking, the car started smoking real bad. And you can see these guys are scrambling. Something happened to the car, and it's a shame. They were one of the quickest cars on the racetrack.
Well, we see the field getting by now. Here's Ricky Rudd and Sterling Marlin all wheeling by. That's Ricky Rudd in 11th position and pulling onto pit road. Back to Neil Bonnet.
Yeah, they're turning down pit road right now. He's coming in here pretty hot. There's a lot of smoke. We'll see if we can figure out what's going on. It's coming out from under the hood more so than out of the pipes. Smells like an oil leak. There's a lot of smoke coming out of the car. Tim Brewer and the guys aren't in a real big hurry here, so it's looking like it's not just something they're going to be able to jump on and fix in a hurry. I don't see any oil out behind the car where they turned in, but it's got to smell like it's cooked, and Bodine's throwing the window net down, so that's going to be it. It smells like the motor's cooked to me.
71 laps for Bodine. Not to be his day. Meanwhile, up in front, it's a family feud here at the Michigan 400. Hut Strickland in car number 12, driving for Bobby Allison, is in first. Bobby Allison's son, Davey Allison, is in second place. And here's Venturini's number 35 coming in very slowly. Chicago driver, former ARCA champion, Automobile Racing Club of America.
Phil was hurt pretty seriously here a couple of years ago, Ken. And
89. Yep. Broke his neck, broke his shoulder in a crash down here in turn 1.
So it's good to see him back here running. He ran in the ARCA race yesterday. He's taking his car behind the wall into the garage area.
The interval from second back to Ernie Irvin in third now stands at 2 8/10 seconds as the Alabama gang really planting their flag in the heart of this Michigan Speedway.
The hottest night this summer will be July 9th when baseball's best gather on one field for a Midsummer's Night scorcher. The All-Star Game on CBS.
With 148 of 400 miles complete, Alabama's Hut Strickland in the Bobby Allison number 12 Buick is in front. Davey Allison in a Ford is in second spot. Ernie Irvin Chevrolet is running third with another Chevy, Dale Earnhardt in fourth, and Mark Martin running a Ford in fifth.
And we got a battle for the lead coming down to the start-finish line. Davey Allison moving around. Hut Strickland taking over first. They had just put a lap on the car number 19 of Chad Little, who is running in 30th place, so that leaves 29 cars on the lead lap. But Hut Strickland, he'll have none of that. He wants the lead back.
Your father told me I was supposed to win this thing. Davey said, I'm sorry, my mother told me it was my turn to go to the front.
Oh, so they're going to play a little tag match here. Switching back and forth.
Great show. Hut Strickland, when he was 8 years old, his folks took him to the Alabama Speedway down at Talladega, the Talladega Super Speedway, sat in the stands with his mom and watched the races. And the name he remembered from that day was Pete Hamilton. Remember, Hamilton won there at Talladega and won the Daytona 500. Incidentally, Pete Hamilton joins many of the legends Saturday, July 13th, 5 o'clock Eastern on CBS. They're all back. Junior and Flock and everybody but Ned Jarrett. And we needed him in the booth.
Yeah, there you go. That's safer.
And we'll be at Talladega July the 28th, the Die Hard 500, which is another of those great competitive races where right to the finish line, it's usually 4 or 5 cars in a dice. Here's Hut Strickland in the number 12 by 2 car lengths, leading Davey Allison. Irvin's in third, Earnhardt's in fourth, Martin's in fifth, Mike Waltrip 6th, Gant 7th, Darrell is 8th, Morgan Shepherd 9th, Ricky Rudd the 10th. Terry Labonte now finds himself 11th, and Jimmy Spencer in the Travis Carter car has come to 12th. Meanwhile, in 13th is Ken Schrader.
Dale Jarrett is 14th. Bill Elliott is 15th. 16th is Sterling Marlin. Lake Speed 17th. Rick Wilson 18th. Dave Marcus still in there 19th. And Bobby Hillen in the Kyle Petty car is 20th.
Joe Ruttman just outside in 21st.
And Rusty Wallace still back there in 22nd place, just not having a good day.
Going nowhere. About where he started. Here's Rusty Wallace's onboard camera as he closes in on Joe Ruttman, and he has to be frustrated. He and that team have worked so hard. They had an engine they liked. It went away, scoured a piston, changed engines, made a second qualifying run. They felt a little more confident, but they never got that hour shakedown last night because of the rain here in Michigan to really sort the thing out. And they're hanging by their fingernails out here, trying to stay in the lead lap and work this one out.
Now, one of the cars that was on the lead lap, yes, he is. He's coming into the pits. This might be a scheduled pit stop, Ken. We're on lap 80 now. I started to say that Mickey Gibbs in the Team 3 car had just come in. He was the last car on the lead lap. He was running in the 28th position. Let's go to the pits at Neil Bonney.
Yeah, it is time, Ned, for the normal pit stop. We'll see Rusty coming in. I just talked to Davey Allison's crew, and they told me he'd be coming in. I see Hutch Strickland coming down pit road. On Davey's crew, they said that when he was behind somebody, the car pushed. And when he got cut under somebody, got real loose. So they're going to do some stagger work. We'll go down to Mike Joy in the pits.
Hutch Strickland is in, and a new right rear tire changer for this team. Brad Parrott moves over from the Bob Whitcomb team to change the right rear. Mike Basinger's on the right front, and that moves Glenn Bobo over to the left side of the car. But they're going with just right side tires for this stop under green. Mike Culbertson has that second can of gas in. Jeff Fennick with a catch can, and in 16.6 seconds, Hutch Strickland is away.
Meanwhile, Earnhardt has pitted, as has Morgan Shepherd and Brett Bodine.
And they made a pretty good chassis adjustment on Dale Earnhardt's car. Rick Wilson is in. Here comes Davey Allison into the pits. So, and Ernie Irvin coming down pit road, Michael Waltrip. These are scheduled pit stops. Let's go back to the pits and Neil Bonney.
Here we are with Davey Allison, and they're doing just what they said. They were concerned about the bite in the car, and they're going to change the chassis a little bit. They don't want to adjust the bite. They're putting tires on. They're doing it with stagger. These aren't the radials. They're changing the stagger. They just did right sides.
Right side tires only on car number 28.
Now that is a little different from when they run the radial tires. Most of the time, when they come in for a pit stop for radials, they'll change all 4 tires. But as Neil says, they only changed 2 on Davey this time, so we'll see how that works out for him.
This is the very same tire that they ran here at Michigan a year ago, Ned. It's a very hard compound, but it does dissipate heat, which is always a problem on this 2-mile track. Here's Mark Martin pitting car number 6. Harry Gant, for the moment, at number 33, has inherited first place. We're in a pit stop period under green.
And you can see some scars on the right of Mark Martin's car. Let's go back to the pits and Mike Joy.
Well, Robert Pembernet's got that right front tire just about off. Steve Spar has the car in the air. First can of gas is done. Wayne Wood hammers the second one in. Steve Hamill having a look, just trying to radio mark. Now they changed their scheme, and you can see they got just a little bit off in 14.4 seconds. Usually they drop the jack to tell the driver when to take off. Now they've changed that on the Roush team. They dropped the jack as soon as they were done changing tires, and Steve Hamill was on the radio to tell Mark when fueling was completed. Somebody jumped the gun there a little bit, but I don't think it cost him much time.
Mike Harry Gant has just pitted car number 33. He had appropriated first spot. Here he is in the pits.
And Ken, 2 of the drivers who have made pit stops are going to get a stop-and-go penalty. That is Alan Kowicki and Lake Speed, who went out of the pits too fast. So they'll have to come in for stop and go.
Let's talk a little about how they judge that.
Yeah, they judge it strictly by, by looking at them. They can just sort of gauge how they're going compared to other cars on the racetrack, and so that's the way to do it.
Here's Bill Elliott coming back on directly behind Dale Jarrett. You think that's fair, Ned?
The
way they judge them on pit road?
Well, it's the only way that they have to judge them right now, so I guess it's that's the only way to do it. We understand Dave Marcus had a similar type situation. I'll tell you, when you come off of that racetrack and you've been running speeds of up 185, 190 miles an hour on the straightaway, and then you slow down to 55 on the pit road, it feels like you're absolutely crawling. If you've ever broken the speed limit on the interstate and run 70 or 75 miles an hour, which nobody should do, but occasionally people do, and then when they slow down to even 55 from that speed, it feels like you're crawling.
Well, slowing down right now is the man that had taken over first. That's Waltrip in the 17, and Ricky Rudd in number 5 now takes over that top spot. Here's Mike Joy.
H.P. Bailey gets a cold drink and a cold cloth as Dick Baer takes a couple of rounds of wedge out of the right rear of the car. H.P. with local sponsorship runs out of Texas as an independent, and he races for a hobby. So no fancy uniform, no stack of 10 sets of tires behind the wall, but a good, hard, sincere effort nonetheless. And they're a little slow on tire change, but he's away. Well, almost.
Meanwhile, the Waltrip pits, car number 17 comes back on. He led briefly, had a couple of laps out here in front.
And we understand that Jimmy Spencer also had a stop and go for going too fast on pit road. And we also have been handed a note, Ken, that they're using an electric eye out there now to gauge the speed. So that is certainly a much fairer situation.
Here's Ricky Rudd's number 5 that is being shown as the leader, with Ken Schrader being shown in second spot and Davey Allison in third. Should see Ricky Rudd pitting shortly. That will change this board one more time. We'll be back in a moment to Michigan. Felix Jose is 4th in the National League in batting and atop the league in doubles as he leads the surprising St. Louis Cards, currently in second place in the National League East, against their Midwest rival Chicago next Saturday on CBS Sports at 1 p.m. Well, some of you will see the Red Sox and the Orioles. That's Major League Baseball next Saturday on CBS Sports. And here at the Michigan International Speedway 2-mile racing facility, a sellout, sun-bathed crowd is enjoying one of the best races we've seen in years. For the moment, we're watching car number 25, Ken Schrader. We've had a green flag pit stop condition, and therefore Ken Schrader has inherited the lead.
Yeah, because he has not stopped yet. He gets tremendous gas mileage on his car. Ricky Rudd was leading not long ago. He's part of the Hendrick Motorsports team, and they just get incredible gas mileage on these cars. Now, Ken should be coming in here before too long. In fact, he might be about to come into the pits right now, but that has let him stay out there and lead for a while and get those 5 bonus Winston Cup points.
Mike Joy?
Well, let's give credit to Kenny Bingham and Ron Revis. They put the horsepower under Schrader and the gas mileage as part of that effort, coordinated by Randy Dorton. The pit sign is out. David Oliver has it in hand. They're looking for Schrader. He's way at the far end of pit road toward turn number 1. But with that speed limit, he'll have to come down here just as slowly as everybody else. And that electric eye must be hidden behind a billboard, Ken. I can't find it along here anyway. But they're going to work. Billy Wilburn on the right rear, Steve Crow on the right front. Brian Smith on the left side won't be needed because they're putting a little wedge in the car as they change just right side tires as they've done on every other car at this end of pit road. Schrader sitting calmly, waved off a cold drink. Nice stop, 16.1, and Ken Schrader is back at it.
12-lap difference between the first car in and this car, number 25 of Ken Schrader. You see Ricky Rudd coming by. He was the next to last man to pit. Yeah. And there you see the new leader, Davey Allison in the 28. Hutch Strickland finds himself back in second place, and Dale Earnhardt is in third. Again, here's Neil Bonnet.
Yeah, Ken, we're here with Paul Andrews, the crew chief on Allen Kowicki. They brought him in for a stop and go. What did they say the penalty was?
Well, they said Allen was going a little too fast leaving pit road. They brought him in for stop and go. But the Hooters down low four is running real good today. We just need to get our lap back and get back in track here so we can have a good run.
So it was going out of the pits more than coming in.
Right, it's going out of the pits, what they said. They said they brought in about 10 of them. I haven't seen it yet, but I know they did penalize some other people also.
Ken, they're watching them coming in, and the going out is where they're catching most of the guys, going out.
And remember, the reason they're doing this is trying to make pit road safer for those men who risk their lives with no safety protection to speak of along pit road. Those 7 men over the wall.
The question was brought up during the drivers' meeting today about the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit on pit road here at Michigan. Since you have a good wide pit road, you also have good long pits here. It's one of the more ideal pit road situations on the circuit. But Dick Beatty, the competition director, says, well, it's as fair for one as it is for the other. We're going to run 55 miles an hour.
And at Detroit last week, the kart people, the Indy cars, were talking about how they could make their pit road safer for their people as well. It's on the minds of anyone who is in the sanctioning business of motorsports. Here's Chris Economac.
Well, we're with with Jeff Bodine, one of the first drivers out of the race. What's this classroom you got with you, Jeff?
These guys are my, well, they've been my good luck charm. Today, I tell you, the one large Thunderbird is running really good. We had a flat tire. We took the lead, had a flat tire, almost got lapped down, but we were fast enough to stay out in front of Davey and the rest of the guys. Bought a caution, thought, hey, this could be our day. Haven't had much luck in the past getting these cautions when we needed them, but we thought today was our day. And coming off turn 4, I guess it was a 35 car, lost the front dampener pulley. That's on the end of the crankshaft. It fell off, rolled up the track, and here comes number 11, ran right over it, put a hole in the oil pan, almost knocked the front cross number off. That's how hard it hit.
Jeff, what do you think about these penalties being handed drivers for speeding up pit road?
It's tough. I'll tell you, like Ned and everyone said, it's very, very tough to come off that track going 180 down to that 55 miles an hour. And it's even tougher, like these guys are getting caught today, leaving because you want to get back up to speed and going through the gearbox. You're kind of not watching your catch, your RPM to see how fast you're going. You're more interested in just getting back out there, and it's really probably easier to speed going out than in, but it's got to be safe out there. We like these guys that change their tires, that put the fuel in the cars. We don't want to hurt them. So it's a good idea. It's a good thing NASCAR slowed us down on pit road.
Well, when I'm up for a speeding ticket, I tell the judge I was velocitized. I couldn't get used to going as slow as the speed limit. Back to you, Ken.
They were saying they couldn't see those electronic guns. They thought they were behind some signboard. They're always behind a signboard. What's new about that? Let's take a slide back through the field here so you get an idea of how they're running the field. Here's the lead car. That's Davey Allison in the Ford, and he's about to put a lap on Rick Wilson with the Stavola car. We'll get to that Stavola story a little later. That car
is running in 18th place. There are 18 cars in the lead lap at the moment.
Then going back, you see the number 20. That's Buddy Baker, who had trouble early and fell back a lap or two.
He has been running good since then, but he simply is a couple of laps down.
And note that he's taken a little more damage there on that car. The second place man in the race, there you see Alan Kowicki, who remains a lap car, the number 7 that had qualified in 5th. And Alan Kowicki's car is being shown back in 32nd spot.
Well, they're showing him 2 laps down now, I guess, as a result of that stop-and-go penalty.
And there's Wally Dallenbach Jr. out of Colorado. And I think that you're going to see a lot more of him in NASCAR. He said he wasted 5 years and he should have been running in stock cars. Now 3.6 seconds behind Davey Allison comes Hut Strickland. There is your second place car on the track.
Now he was in the pits a good bit longer than Davey Allison because I think he changed 4 tires and Allison only took on 2, so he's playing catch up. But I don't know if he's running faster than Allison right now or not.
But it's an impressive display by Hut Strickland again here on CBS, as he was down in Charlotte, North Carolina, and earlier this year at Daytona. Coming back from the Hut Strickland car that is currently 2nd overall in the field. 3rd place car overall is Dale Earnhardt. But in between them are these cars. First you see the number 2 car, and with him
24 car of Mickey Gibbs. Now that 2 car, of course, is Rusty Wallace. He's being shown in 19th place, and he is a lap down to the leaders now. And the
20th car is the 20th place car is that 24 car.
Yeah, they're racing for position there right now, and you can see Dale Earnhardt coming up on. That's the 3rd place car coming up on those 2 cars.
Earnhardt is 2 7/10 seconds behind Hut Strickland's machine. Number 3 Chevrolet, and we are. In the position, we've got a stabilized race out here because we've had all this racing and a green flag pit stop, which has given us some interval around the racetrack. 1 caution thus far. Average speed is 156.6 miles an hour. Most lead changes for this event since '86 when there were 32. Record is 50. That was back in 1974. Currently, we had 19 lead changes, but that's come to a quick halt after this stop under green for fuel.
Here's our 4th place car. That's Mark Martin.
Mark Martin's car is being shown as about 2 seconds. 2 seconds back from the number 3 car.
So they've gotten strung out just a little bit here now as a result of the green flag pit stops. Let's go to the pits and Neil Bunny.
Ned, I was just over here talking to the Davey Allison crew. They're concerned. It's hard to believe you can be leading and dominating as well as he is right now. The car is real loose. He said they got to lead the race and they got to stay out front. When they get behind someone, the car is pushy, like they said earlier. when he's out by himself, he's a little loose and he can live with it. But when he gets in traffic, just like he was trying to pass Earnhardt earlier, the car doesn't work as well. So the key for them is to get by themselves on the racetrack. He's going to run the car extra hard to stay out front. It's easier on the race car to lead.
Okay, that makes sense, and he's certainly doing a good job of it now. Of course, he's lapping cars now pretty often, and I'm sure that he has to be real careful when he gets around those cars. But right at the moment, he's out there by himself in the position that he wants to be. He has led 34 of the 102 laps, so that's about a third of the laps.
Is he working up to lap Harry Gant in 15th? Well,
yep, Gant was one of those drivers that had a stop-and-go penalty because of going out of the pits too fast.
Chris?
Well, you know, we're in the second half of the race now. A few moments ago, you mentioned that Rusty Wallace was way down in the standings. Don't feel for his car owner, Roger Penske. Roger owns this racetrack. Every one of the 50-odd thousand seats were sold by last Wednesday. As we said earlier today, this is the largest crowd in history, and that means the biggest gross receipts in the history of this racetrack. So no matter how much money number 2 does not make, Roger Penske's going to the bank tomorrow morning.
Indeed he will. He had a great crowd here yesterday as well. And $10,000 more in the bank account of Davey Allison, who led at halfway. This Michigan 400 race summary is sponsored by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil. Here's what's happened to mid-distance. After 103 of the 200 laps have been run, you've had 9 different leaders, 19 lead changes, and the average speed is 157 miles per hour. The cautions, just 1, and they're now recording that as 4 laps. 3 cars have retired from the race. Derek Cope was first out, Jeff Bodine and Bill Venturini, and there's a question now on Eddie Bierschwale as to whether or not he will become the 4th retiree. And the leaders at the present time are Davey Allison out in front. Hut Strickland stays in 2nd spot. Dale Earnhardt is in 3rd. Mark Martin finds himself in 4th, and the man who's set on the pole, young Michael Waltrip from Owensboro, Kentucky, is 5th. Let's take a look at those out of the race. They're showing Cope, Bodine, Venturini, and we think we're going to see the Bierschwale go up on the mark. They report over to the garage area if they are officially retiring from the event.
He did take the car into the garage area, Ken. Whether he'll come back or not, I don't know. But there's Rick Mast going another lap down. Davey Allison moves around him.
Rick Mast running in 34th position. And Davey Allison has continued to pad his advantage. It's 4 8/10 seconds, by which he has Strickland back in 2nd spot.
Hutt got caught up in some traffic a little while ago and lost a couple of seconds on that.
Chris?
Well, you mentioned the speed of the race at this point, 157 and a fraction miles an hour. If that keeps up, it'll be a record for this race. The record for this event was set by Rusty Wallace in 1988 at 153.551 miles an hour. So we're seeing speed records being made right now.
Chris, we're going to give a complete rundown for everyone on the running order of the field as we have it at halfway. We are working lap 110. We can show you where all the cars were through mid-distance of the event with Davey Allison out in front. And that's showing through 108 laps. This is the running order with Ernie Irvan back there in the 6th position. He's having a pretty good tussle back there. Bill Elliott's coming back into the picture too, up there in the lead lap. These cars through 14th are all in the lead lap. Sterling Marlin remains that last car on the lead lap.
Of course, we see Mickey Gibbs and Rusty Wallace back there.
Stan Smith's having a good run. He started way back out there in the next to last row up to 22nd. We watch Davey down across the line to complete his 111th lap. Let's look at that order, the remainder of it. Dave Marcus, his 43rd start here at Michigan today. Chad Little had that altercation with Ernie Irvan big time after the race the other day. Buddy Baker, the 79 winner. Now we get back to some of those cars. There's Eddie Bierschwale, tail ender, and in the garage area. And we believe he's about to be considered an official retiree from the event, that Texan on the tail end. Now here's the number 30 car scooting down and going under Wallace. Remember, Wallace is not having a good day at all. And Wallace's car, number 2, is being shown a lap down. He's back in 20th spot. Meanwhile, whoa! A little hammering there.
But all pretty close
Nice
together.
to see you. Michael Waltrip in the 30 and Ernie Irvin in the 4. They are battling for position. That's a scramble for 5th.
Yeah, Waltrip is in 5th. Ernie Irvin is 6th. Of course, Rusty in between them is a lap down. He is in 20th position.
Out the back of Wallace's car.
Well, Ernie didn't want to stay in that picture too long. He said, I believe I'll stay out and pass him, see if we can see out the front, he says.
Rusty seems to have found some new life. He runs that outside line pretty well, but he still is about where he started. Rusty Wallace began the day. He had qualified for today's event in the 23rd position, and he's still struggling back there in 20th.
Yes, Judd, not the kind of day that you normally see Rusty Wallace have on this racetrack, but they just, I guess, missed the setup. You can see him, he's driving hard.
Bill Elliott, here he is in car number 9, being shown in the 9th position and closing up on Morgan Shepherd in the 15th. The story is that he's going to Junior Johnson next year. That's become more prevalent in the past several days.
There have been a lot of rumors about that in the newspapers in the South and some of the television stations down there and even in the garage area. But he is making a good run towards the front now. He lingered around from about 12th to 15th for a while, but after he made his pit stop, he's running much faster. He has run Morgan Shepherd. Darrell Waltrip is right in front of Morgan, so that's 7th, 8th, and 9th that we're seeing there right now. So Elliott beginning to ramble a little bit.
Bill Elliott, who 3 times in his career has turned those long losing streaks, 84, 86, and 89, into successes right here on this racetrack. He's still up in that lead lap and looking very strong at this time as he runs with Morgan. But Elliott is 26 seconds behind the leader, Allison. With more, here's Mike.
In addition, Elliott, you're talking about Rusty Wallace woes, and they're chassis hunting and power hunting. This is the car they ran at Charlotte, and they were not happy with it at all. So they cut it up at a point just behind the upper windshield post and the roof and lowered the rear part of the chassis more than an inch, trying to improve the handling characteristics of the car, and brought it up here trying to adapt it to Michigan. They have no horsepower, he says. Early in the season, NASCAR announced that a particular type of cylinder head design was not going to be permitted after 4th of July. So Rusty's head engine builder, Harold Elliott, said they weren't going to work with that type of cylinder head since it wouldn't be legal all season. And then along NASCAR said, well, we're going to let the teams that have those heads keep them. And now Harold's had to scramble and order up some, but he couldn't get any in time for this weekend. So they're playing catch-up on both ends of the equation, handling and horsepower.
116 laps are now complete of the 200 to be run in the Michigan 400. And we will return with more live coverage of the Michigan 400 after this message and a word from your local station. Reviewing the leaders for you again here in the Michigan 400. Davey Allison, after 3 very sour trips with motor trouble to this race, well out in front by 5 seconds over Hut Strickland in 2nd. Dale Earnhardt stays a very secure 3rd. Mark Martin is 4th, and Michael Waltrip is 5th. In the 6th spot is Ernie Irvin with Darrell Waltrip hanging tough in 7th. Bill Elliott continues along there. Now looking further back, Terry Labonte, Ken Schrader, Dale Jarrett. That's a pretty good story back in there. And 15th is Harry Gant. He's gone a lap down. Here's your leader. And it's a big lead. It's 5 seconds by which Davey Allison continues to draw away. Now take a look here. Here's the number 5 car. Ricky Rudd is running in the 10th position. Pretty good run at the beginning. Looked like he had a motor go. Instead, it was some metal rubbing on a tire. I'll give you a chance to see some of the cars further back. Rudd is in the 10th, and there in 11th is the car number 94 of Terry Labonte, the Oldsmobile that started 26 today, Ned.
Yeah, Terry has had a good run here today. Rudd just moved around him not too many laps ago for the 10th position. Terry hanging in there in 11th.
Going a little further back in the field, Ken Schrader's car had collected a position.
Yeah, he's just sitting out there running by himself. Well, that's not him there. That's Ted Musgrave in the car number 55.
The leading rookie. And as we mentioned earlier, he Ted Musgrave, they had their third child last night about 7:20. Brittany Nicole.
He's currently being shown in the 33rd position.
Best to wife Debbie. She's enjoying the race today.
There's Schrader.
There's Schrader, and there's young Mr. Smith, Stan Smith out of Alabama, the former All-American Series champion of NASCAR. Ken Schrader's number 25 is the 12th car on the field.
And he's not too far from being lapped. He's 6 2/10 seconds ahead of Davey Allison right now, as we perhaps going back a little bit further and pick up Dale Jarrett and the car number 22 of Sterling Marlin. They're even closer to being lapped. Well, there's Jarrett in the car number 21 with Lake Speed right on his bumper. Now, Lake is a lap down. He's currently being shown in the 24th position. He was one of those drivers who got caught with the stop-and-go situation. Now, Sterling Marlin is on behind these two cars. Jarrett running in 13th place as Lake Speed tries to move around him on the inside. Jarrett's car has not been handling too good since they made the two-tire change on the green flag pit stop. He would like to have a caution flag.
You're close to that team and that car. It's your son out there in the 21. The Wood brothers, 10 times winners here, but over the past several seasons, they've been rolling a lot of snake eyes. What's happened to the Wood brothers team?
Well, I don't know. Hud Strickland, the car in second place, is in the pits right now. Let's go to Spence and Mike Joy.
This will be a 4-tire stop, Ned. Glenn Bobo there on the left side getting those lugs loosened up. Gas going in. And Hud had complained the car was a little bit too tight on the stagger, so they'll adjust that with the match between the left rear and the right rear tire that they put on this time. You notice that Bobo, who took the tires off the left side, quickly jumped over the pit wall so they wouldn't have too many men over. Mike, fellas come around from the right to fix it. Ken?
Mike, the leader is coming in as well. Davey Allison is in 24 seconds on Strickland, and here comes the 28. Davey Allison has been out in front. Here's Neil.
Here we are again. They roll in. Davey came in, stopped it right on the money. Joey Knuckles pulling the left sides off. The guys getting the right sides. They're putting the gas in it. The last time it was just right sides. They can put the lefts on and get another set of rights virtually free here. They're going to 4-tire the car. They're not turning any wedge. All they're talking about is working with stagger on this car. As good as this thing's running, I think they're afraid to touch those wedge bolts. So a little fine tuning with the stagger is all they need. He's got her down in a way. It's a good stop.
25-second stop all the way around on car number 28. 4 tires and fuel. Here's Mike.
And here's Dale Earnhardt for 4 tires. The left front of that car showing an awful lot of tire rubbing, but it did not look as if the fender or that front spoiler was bent in against the tires. Pretty good 4-tire change for Earnhardt.
Car number 30 making its pit stop. Had been running third for a moment. Riding with Michael Waltrip, the pole sitter. And holding that speed right down. Doesn't want to get a ticket.
Nope, not the thing you want to do right now. He's pitting down towards turn 1, and now he sees his pits. You can see the crew come across the wall and start to work. Clean the windshield, change the right side tires. They're putting gas on the left side, and it looks like they are going to make a 4-tire change. We saw them putting tires across the wall over there. Yes, they do. The jack man goes around. Here goes the tire changers. They lost the chief engine builder on this car a couple of weeks ago, Kenny Wilson, who will become the general manager of the car number 8, the Stavola Brothers car. Now Michael gets his service complete. That doesn't seem to be having a great effect on this team so far.
Careful, Michael.
Well, he was almost out at the end of pit road, so he was pretty close to the position that he could stand on it.
Another man who is left with that new Stavola team is Pete Wright, who was one of the co-crew chiefs for Junior Johnson in his absence over that 4-race restrainer from NASCAR. Pete Rice is going to join Wilson with Stavola. And it was interesting that Junior said, if the time is appropriate, come back.
Yes, he said if you get where you don't like it over there, he said you'll always have a job here. So that's very nice. Here comes Rick Wilson in. Rick Wilson, that's Ernie Irvin. Rick Wilson drove that car about 2 or 3 years ago. I should get caught up, shouldn't I? And here's Mark Martin as well.
You just make me feel, you're just trying to make me feel good. Michael Walter trying to get him in that IndyCar race last week. Here's Irvin's number 4 on the pit road, and you saw Mark Martin's number 6 in for a moment. So in this shuffle that's taking place, we're at lap 128. Ernie Irvin for the moment has been the leader. Martin then was in second. This is going to put Waltrip back in the lead with those two guys both on pit road. Mike Joy is down there in Mark Martin's pit.
And they're looking for a speedy 4-tire change as well. Left side of the car up, fueling now complete. Whoa, CP this time. Didn't bother to call Mark on the radio. He was just motioning him out of there, and he's gone.
Well, a little longer pit stop for Ernie Irvin in the car number 4 because Martin came in behind him and went out at least a couple of seconds ahead of him.
So this puts Darrell Waltrip's number 17 up on the point for the moment here at Michigan. It's an absolutely letter-perfect weather day. Couldn't have it better. The wind died down. We were having some pretty gusty experiences here this morning to 25, 30 miles an hour. That has abated. This man doing what he usually does midway in the race. Waltrip beginning to be assertive in this Michigan 400. As we watch him, you know, he's the owner driver. That's a new team look. I'd like to ask Ned, the rumor is that the Redskins coach, Joe Gibbs, is going to bring out a Winston Cup team next year. What do you know about that?
Well, I understand he's been talking to some people in the sport. He is a race fan, and Jerry Glanville, the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, took a driving course recently down in Atlanta. I don't think he's going to become a race driver, but there is interest in those coaches in the NFL, and so it'd be interesting to see if Joe Gibbs, you know, he was a drag racer once himself, and so he has a little bit of racing experience. Let's go to the pits now with Neil Bynum.
Ned, we're down here with Bill Elliott. They're doing a 4-tire stop on him. I was talking to Ernie Elliott just before he came in. He said the motor's been skipping since the race started, but the car was sure moving up to the fact it killed the motor taking off. He got it going. How many times have we talked to Ernie Elliott when that thing was driving away and he said he was having motor trouble? It sure looked like it's running good to me.
He was going up through the field pretty good, Neil, even if he was having that engine problem. The car looked like it was handling well. Dale Jarrett coming into the pits now for his pit stop. He had moved up through the 4th position as a result of the pit stops. So
it's the second stop for fuel under a green flag condition, and the day still is dominated by Davey Allison. More from Michigan shortly. Next Saturday on CBS Sports, it's third-round coverage of the Federal Express St. Jude Classic. Last year, Tom Kite hit this putt, first hole of sudden death play, to claim the crown. He'll return to Germantown, Tennessee to defend the honors. That's next Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern, third-round coverage of the Federal Express St. Jude Classic here on CBS. At Michigan International Speedway in the Michigan 400, after a dandy start, this race is somewhat stabilized. Looking at the standings after this second green flag stop, Darrell Waltrip, for the moment, has the advantage. Ricky Rudd finds himself in second place. Then in third is Ken Schrader. In fourth is Davey Allison. And running fifth, Hut Strickland. And that changes as we speak. Ricky Rudd has just pulled onto pit road, the first of that threesome that's getting the long mileage here today. He's come back on the track. That will move Schrader up into second place. Waltrip continues to be the leader, looking for his 82nd win out there in old 17. And we have one more stop for fuel in this race, Ned. And these guys with the long range, shall we say, cars, they might have an advantage the way this thing is shaking out.
Well, the advantage that they would have, I think everybody else can stop one more time and make it as far as the fuel is concerned. But the advantage they have is keeping out there running. And should they be able to catch a caution, it just gives them that many more laps. If a caution should come out and let them stop under caution where most everybody else has stopped under green.
Well, let's just see how much farther Darrell will carry this car number 17. We're at lap 137 complete here. About 40 laps, 43 laps. Tank of fuel, 44.
Yeah, he should be able to go that far, maybe even as much as 45. You see what's happened right now when I was talking about catching that caution. Right now, there are only 8 cars in the lead lap. But when he comes in, he and Schrader, then that's going to put a bunch of other cars back in the lead lap.
Speaking of Schrader, Mike Joy is down in his pits.
Well, I'm looking at Richard's room, and Richard, I see that look on your face. It looks like you're getting ready to roll the dice again.
Well, I'm a little bit concerned about it. I think we can make it on one more stop, and that's what we're shooting for.
How many laps is that going to be? 55 on a tank full?
Yeah, we're doing about 55, maybe 58 laps.
So you're hoping this thing stays green all the way?
Yeah, I'd like to see it stay green. I think we'll be okay.
And if it does, they might be the only car out there without having to make a second stop. Chris?
We're sitting here with a man from another form of the sport. After 25 years in racing, this man, Doug Shearson of nearby Adrian, Michigan, his car won the Indianapolis 500 last year with Harry Landike. You sold your equipment and you got out. Now, rumors say you're looking at stock car racing. Are we going to see a Doug Shearson car in this form of the sport?
Well, if the right opportunity comes along, Chris, for a competitive effort, yes, I would like to make an effort.
Okay, is this the first race you've seen this year?
Yes, it's the first race I've been to.
Okay, well, we'll be looking for you, Doug. Okay, let's go down now to Neil Bonnet.
Here we are down here with Darrell Waltrip's crew. They're going to put 4 tires. They're stretching the mileage just like Ned said. I talked to Jeff Hammond. He says some days you can't just flat out run them. You got to run them a little bit and outsmart them. So they're trying to work the tires, the fuel mileage, and everything as far as they possibly can go. And this bunch is the best in the world at doing it. The motor's dead. They got the ether going in the carburetor opening. They're pushing it. That's stretching it about as far as you can go. You got to be careful with that ether. It'll tear the motor up sometime on the restart, but he's going away with it now.
Waltrip back underway. So Schrader inherits first place. And this is a replay of what we saw in this last green flag stop.
When Schrader has already gone 55 laps one time today, and when Mike Joy was talking to Richard Broom there a moment ago and talking about going to one more stop, you know, a moment ago you and I were talking about everybody else making on one more stop. See, Ken Schrader hadn't made the stop that everybody else has, so he's going to make one less pit stop. If they can pull that off, then everybody else. And that just might be the trick that'll pull it off for him if it stays green.
Here he is around H.B. Bailey, just up in front of Richard Petty's car number 43. Ken Schrader in the 25 car for the moment has the lead. He's won a couple of times this year. He'd sure like to win here today in this $700,000 payoff in Michigan. "40 years of change in Soviet Russia, from Stalin to Gorbachev, from the gulags to Glasnost, on 60 Minutes tonight, followed by Sunday dinner and a special encore performance of All in the Family. Then Murder, She Wrote, and finally The Trials of Rosie O'Neill. That's tonight on CBS. Here at Michigan, on lap 144, Ken Schrader is trying to duplicate a feat that he did earlier this year.
Yes, he wanted Atlanta by making one pit stop less than everyone else can, and they're on track to do that today. As a matter of fact, if he runs another lap or so here, it looks like that he would be able to maybe pull it off.
However, Allison's brute speed has nearly overcome the advantage of Schrader's fuel mileage earlier today. Allison's only 3 4/10 seconds behind Schrader right now.
And then when Schrader comes into the pits, well, of course, he would have to, he'll perhaps lose almost a lap. So, yeah, it might not work as far as Davey Allison is concerned as fast as he is running.
He's waving to Richard Petty behind him. Richard running back there in the 21st spot. Looks like this may be it for Schrader. Fades up the track pretty high, though.
Well, but he's going to come and keep his speed up as high as he can until he gets at the entrance of pit road. They have to be slowed down to 55 miles an hour when they get to that first pit.
That's right. Doesn't want to get caught by that man in those well-polished boots with a pencil and pad out there. Let's go to Mike Joy.
Well, if the tire changers, Ken, are the wide receivers of this team, and the jack man is the ball carrier, it makes the gas men the linemen. And they are the critical guys on this stop if Kenny Schrader is going to go all the way. Rick Yancey has that gas can up in the air, and Ken Church is ready to hand him the second can. Now, this team will change all 4 tires as Kenny waves off a drink. Charlie Seegers is the catch can man. He's one of the members of the Hendrick engine shop. And getting all of that fuel in there so he can go that 55 laps is the most critical mission of this pit stop. Fueling is complete. Left side tires finishing up. David Oliver wipes some debris off the grill, and there goes Schrader in a great 20.6 seconds.
That was a good pit stop for a 4-tire change.
Schrader, who likes to drive anything, midgets, sprint cars, little concerned, like many of these people who have seen him race, about the condition of Don Schilling, who was injured up in Winchester. It was nice to hear the reports that he's coming along well and intends to stay in the sport, perhaps more as a designer of those very fast and very tricky race cars. Hope he's watching today and enjoying our Michigan 400, which now has 147 laps down. And the issue is, can Schrader really stretch the mileage that kind of distance to the checkers? We'll just have to wait and see. This Michigan 400 race summary is sponsored by Quaker State. The big Q is one tough motor oil. In the race summary, after 294 or 400 miles, there have been 11 different leaders. The lead changes, 24 of them. The record is 50, which goes back to 1974. The average speed's a whopper, 159.2 miles an hour. The old record, Rusty Wallace in '88 at 153.5. Just one caution period early in the going for 4 laps, and 6 cars have found their way to the garage area around for the finish of this one. Those include Derek Cope, Jeff Bodine, Bill Venturini, Eddie Bierswale. Jim Sauter is now out. Brett Bodine has just gone back behind the wall, and at 6, they were giving us an indication that Rick Wilson was having trouble.
But he's going back out on the track right now. He did go to the garage area, Ken, but they went in the garage area and did some work on it, so he's going back out.
Now, as the speed stays at 159 miles an hour, Ned, and we have Davey Allison out in front here, followed by Hut Strickland and Dale Earnhardt and Mark Martin. The issue is, earlier today, we saw a 54-lap run made by Schrader. Now, can he stretch it another 2 laps?
Yeah, I think he can probably go that far, but his problem is, as we talked about a little bit ago, the brute speed of Davey Allison. Ken Schrader is a lap down right now. When he made that last pit stop, he went a lap down. In fact, he's being shown in the 13th position. So even if Davey Allison stops, if he makes a good pit stop, he can still get back out close to where Ken Schrader is on the racetrack, and would have 4 fresh tires and should be able just to pull away from him again. So I don't think that the tremendous gas mileage will win the race today unless something happens to Davey Allison, but it will help him to get a much higher finish because everybody between he and the front are going to have to stop.
The Davey Allison, number 28, has a 7 1/10 advantage last time by over that number 12 of Hut Strickland, as the Alabama contingent continues to run 1-2. Let's take a look at just how that looks on this 2-mile deep-shaped track. Again, if you're just joining us, Davey Allison has been the story here, as he was at the Winston on CBS back in May. Take a look at the interval that he has developed over one of his relatives, Hut Strickland. That's the interval from 1st to 2nd spot. Now looking further back to Dale Earnhardt, who is in 3rd spot. And there you see right behind the Strickland car, Schrader, and it's 1 9/10 back to Dale Earnhardt in 3rd. He looks pretty strong right now. Staying 4th on the field is Martin in the number 6. Here's Earnhardt coming back to the line, the defending champion in this race. Here's Mike Joy.
Well, Ken, like a big rubber band, this field is all stretched out, and it's going to snap back together again right about lap 200. Hut Strickland has to stop right around lap 170. If the other teams do as well, that'll put Ken Schrader right back up on the lead lap and up in the field, and about lap 200, they might all be back together again. Neil?
Yeah, I'm down here in Davey Allison's pit. They feel pretty confident. The situation, they got Schrader a lap down. Even though he doesn't have to stop, they got him a lap down, and then they're able to run faster lap times. He's running faster than Schrader. They think they've got enough cushion to make that stop for fuel. Let's go to Chris Economaki.
That 7-second lead that Davey Allison holds, only 4 times in the 22-year history of this race, starting in 1969, has anyone had a bigger lead at this point in the race. And from the standpoint of safety, last year there was an accident, but 3 of the last 6 races there have been no crashes, 4 of the last 7. Door handle racing. It's a testament to the skills of the men we see on the track here, who we've not seen any accidents in today's race.
Absolutely, Chris, and a testament, too, to this very fine racetrack. It is a forgiving racetrack as far as crashes are concerned, but you've really got to be right to get around this thing. We'll talk about that more with Neil Bonnet when we return, and we'll return with more live coverage of the Michigan 400 after this message and a word from your local station. Coming up on CBS, there's more racing this summer. On Saturday, July 13th, 5 o'clock Eastern, Junior Johnson, the legend himself, battles Cale Yarborough, Pete Hamilton, Larry Frank, the great Tim Flock. Battle of the NASCAR Legends on CBS Saturday, July 13th. A battle of giants out here today at Michigan International Speedway with Davey Allison continuing to set sail, about to move in on Dave Marcus in car number 71. David just keeps on trucking in 17th position at the present time, going around Jimmy Means and Alan Kowicki. A report from Neil Bonnet down on pit road.
Ken, I've been back in Davey Allison's pit. They're not going to stretch the fuel to the maximum limit. They feel like if they go as far as they can, they won't not have enough laps left to make up some time. They're going to pit his car earlier than normal, somewhere between 25 and 30 laps to go, throwing 2 right side tires on. They feel like the car is fast enough. If they give him some extra time, even if he gets behind, he can make it up. So he's not going to go the limit on fuel. He's going to go to a certain distance and then see if he can run him back down.
Neil, what about this racetrack? What do you have to be careful about when you're driving here?
You can overrun a car here, Ken. There's very few racetracks that you can attack too hard. If you can get a good smooth pace, run smooth up off these corners, the lap times are there. When you get aggressive and try to run hard, you're scrubbing off speed in these corners. And that's why you see somebody like Davey, once he gets that rhythm down and he gets the lead, he can maintain the lead easier than he can work traffic. Right now, he's dictating the pace and he's driving away.
Joey Knuckles working the clock for Davey Allison there, keeping very careful time of what he does every lap all the way around. Marcus is making a pretty good run with him right now.
Yeah, he's hanging tough there, no doubt about it. Dave will race you. He's about to go 2 laps down. We see Rick Mast there, who continues to have a tough day, and that green and black car there is Stanley Smith.
Well, as they flirt with danger moving around those moving ponds out here, Dave Marcus in the 71 hangs tough with Davey Allison in the 28. And again, he's running in 17th, being shown 2 laps down.
There are only 10 cars in the lead lap right now. Darrell Waltrip is in 10th place, and he's only about a second in front of Davey Allison. That would be the next car he would lap once he gets around Dave Marcus. Of course, the leader is Davey Allison. Second place is still Hut Strickland, Dale Earnhardt third, Mark Martin's fourth, Michael Waltrip fifth.
Nat, I think the racing family has been really shattered in the past several days with the passing of Benny Parsons' wife, Connie, who was an instrumental person in the Winston Wives Auxiliary, a great lover of this sport, and a great fan.
I'll tell you, it's one of the saddest things we've had happen in this sport for a long, long time, and it was so sudden, Ken. She had a gallbladder operation, and things just continued to go downhill. Of course, she passed away a week ago today. And certainly the racing world has poured out their hearts and prayers and best wishes to Benny.
Our condolences to a former winner of this event, former national champion Benny Parsons, a very good friend, and to his sons, Keith and Kevin. Taking a look at the running order here today, as we watch Davey continue to dominate this race, as he did the 600, as he did the Winston. Going into turn number 3. Neil Bonnet, you kind of grew up around these Allisons and that whole family thing in Alabama about racing. You're a major portion of the Alabama gang. What's this guy got going?
And I tell you what, these guys are doing it like I felt like it needed to do. They've always ran the short track. Davey ran the short tracks. He got in the ARCA type racing, and then he worked his way in Winston Cup. But Strickland ran a lot of short track programs. He worked up and ran the super speedway stuff in the Daytona Dash. And now they've worked themselves into these race cars, and they're contenders to win every week.
And they're running first and second right now.
Yes, sir, and they look like they're going to be off the top. Hey, Ken, you'd asked me a question a little bit earlier, and we had to go to something else down on pit road about the Wood brothers. The Dale Jarrett drives for them now. Dale's currently in the 11th position. And what had happened as far as their dominance is concerned. Of course, Neil Bonnet drove for him 2 different times in his career and had a very successful career with them, especially the first time around. They are beginning to come back now, I think. Maybe they had sort of stood still for a while or had not gained as much as some other teams, but they're coming back now, and they've had some awfully good runs this year, close to victory.
A lot of us want to see those Wood brothers back in victory lane. They're a very special family in racing. We'll be back with more live from Michigan in a moment.
This CBS Sports Special, the Michigan 400, is sponsored by Kawasaki Motors Corporation. USA, Kawasaki, let the good times roll. Valvoline, people who know use Valvoline. And by Ford Motorcraft Quality Parts.
We're showing 170 laps complete. There's a great battle between 30 and 4. Waltrip and Irvin for 4th. And at this moment, the leader is coming down on the pit road. Davey Allison's car, number 28, is in the pits. Here's Neil.
Here he is, Ken. Look at him putting the hood pin in the front of the car. Davey had called him and said there was a hood pin. They were concerned about getting black flag with that. They're going to do 2 right side tires, just like they told us. They're pumping it full of gas right now. They just want to get the tires on in case he's got to run them back down. They got the pin in. It really had a concern. They're okay now.
In 13.6, he's out. Now, Earnhardt, who had been running in third, pitted in 11.5. And he's back on the track. The lead goes over to Hut Strickland in car number 12. Another time here today. It's a battle on pit road as well as on the Speedway in this Michigan 400. Here's the battle on the racetrack for the moment that features the man who sat on the pole, Michael Waltrip and Ernie Irvan, in a scramble for third spot. Hut Strickland is first, Mark Martin second.
But Waltrip is coming into the pits. Michael Waltrip in the Chuck Ryder Pontiac coming into the pits. Mark Martin is coming down pit road right now, as well as Rusty Wallace. Of course, Rusty a couple of laps down.
Mark Martin in second place, just out here in front of Michael Waltrip in the number 30. Mike?
Well, they're trying to get Hut Strickland in, and apparently he cannot hear crew chief Jimmy Penning on the radio. They've just asked NASCAR to black flag Strickland so they can give him some gas and tires.
Well, he's coming off of turn 4, coming down towards the start-finish line. He's not getting the black flag. I don't know if they accommodate him that way or not, but anyway, Hut stays out there, continues to circle.
My, how times have changed, Ned. Yeah. Was it you get a black flag and everybody's hackles went up. Now they want some help. Average speed is at 165.25. Race record 153 by Rusty Wallace back in '88. Just that one brief period. Some 4 laps under caution in the early going. There's the rookie Teddy Musgrave having a dandy day in car number 55. That rookie driver getting lapped, and here comes the 12 car on pit road.
Mike, the reason they were so anxious to get him in is he's not in danger of running out of gas, but rather they were afraid that with Davey having fresh tires, Davey would run away from him. So now here comes Hut Strickland at the NASCAR mandated 55 miles an hour, and as he's 1 pit away, Chris Beat jumps over the wall with the jack. It'll be right side tires only. They're signaling 2 to driver Hut Strickland, that it's only 2 tires. Second can of gas going in. Trying to get that right front tire changer rushed around, and as he does, away goes Strickland in 14.1 seconds.
And they put his number up on the board, Ned.
Yeah, they didn't give him a black flag, but they did put his number on the board, and I'm sure Hut saw that when he came around, so he came in the next lap.
And that board is an electronic board that's right down below the flag stand. It's right into the driver's face as they dive beneath the flag stand here at Michigan. But he got the message that he was wanted on pit road. Now here's Ernie Irvan, who for the moment had inherited first place. He's on the pit road, and Ricky Rudd will find himself back up on top another time.
Well, I'm not sure if Ricky will be out front or not. Davey Allison is right in front of him on the racetrack, and it might be.
Davey's made up enough time to stay in front.
I think that's what's happened. Sterling Marlin just making his last pit stop. So is Dave Marcus. They're packing all the gas they can get in Ernie Irvan's car, it looks like. It's trying to get enough in to go these last 25 laps.
175 complete and 25 to go. There's Rudd's number 5. But Allison has come back out on the track and circulated around. There's the 28 of Davey. And we believe has himself that advantage. There you see the 5 car just behind him. So indeed, it's Davey Allison first, Ricky Rudd in second, as we get down to the finish of the Michigan 400. Next Saturday on CBS Sports at 1 p.m. Eastern, Major League Baseball has a couple of Eastern Divisional rivalries. Most of the country will see the St. Louis Cardinals and the Chicago Cubs, while others will see the Boston Red Sox against the Baltimore Orioles. At National League East standings, surprising St. Louis in second place these days. And that American League game, those Red Sox, they've been just a percentage point up on Toronto, literally tied for first for the past 7 days. And of course, Baltimore has Cal Ripken, who's leading the American League in batting. Ought to be a fun day for baseball next Saturday here on CBS. Bill Elliott has just come out of the pits. He had been running in second place in front of Waltrip, Rudd, and Earnhardt. So with Elliott's pit stop, there you see Bill back on the track trying to turn this season around. Gone scoreless for the first 13 races as far as the win column is concerned. Darrell Waltrip finds himself back in the second spot looking for his third Winston Cup victory of the season. Ricky Rudd is up to third. Dale Earnhardt's in fourth. Hutch Strickland's in fifth, and this is the guy they're chasing. Young Davey Allison. With Ned Jarrett, I'm Ken Squire. Top side, 20 laps to go on the Michigan 400, and down racetrack side is the guy who very much would like to be out there today, Neil Bonnet.
Ken, I tell you what, Bill Elliott just came in. He's the only one of the leaders I saw that put fuel only. They're working on some track position. They put fuel only in the car, and he left. Harry Gant came back completely out of fuel, shaking the car, trying to get that last drop going down pit road. So these guys are trying to get back out there as quick as possible.
It's going to be pretty hard to beat this 28 this afternoon.
Yes, it is. The car is running so well, and even though it might have been a little bit loose along the way, it still is running fast. And he's passing Michael Waltrip there, the pole sitter. He is off the pace right now. Something is awry in the engine off that Pontiac number 30 of Michael Waltrip, who has run so good, been in the top 5 most of the day, won his second pole of the year here for this race, but now is off the pace.
And he had fate working with him throughout that whole day of qualifying. Back on Friday, that time period in the afternoon, one cloud came over the Michigan Speedway for exactly 3 minutes. It was at that particular moment that Michael Waltrip made that run. He had been running well all week, but he got a blessing.
Yeah, he had been running fast enough. He was a contender for the pole, but he did get a little bit of help, so he whipped him pretty good once he went out there under that cloud. Ricky Rudd now about to come into the pits. He was running in third place. This will be his last pit stop.
And here you see the 10th place car, Morgan Shepherd, about to go a lap down. Morgan's had another good run for Bud Moore in that Ford today. But Davey Allison, that car has worked from the minute they took it off the truck. 17 laps before they can pick those uniforms up, off, hang them up on the clothesline here at Michigan this afternoon. Getting down to the finish of this one, $720,000 to be divvied up very shortly. And for the moment, it looks like Davey Allison's to take home major portion thereof.
Well, if he does, he would be the first driver this year to win 3 Winston Cup races.
Or if you want to count the Winston.
Yeah, that's right. Of course, I was talking about points race. Now, Dale Earnhardt has moved around, or is about to move around Hutch Strickland. A good battle going on here at the start-finish line between the second and third place cars as Davey Allison continues to try to...
Michael's slowing down. Mike looks like it's about over for him.
Mentioned earlier that he apparently had lost a cylinder. As we look out the windshield of his car, and he can just sit there and drive it, and knowing that he's not going anywhere and he's going to be losing positions from here on.
There's Earnhardt's number 3 closing in on Hutch Strickland. Battle for third. What a great run for the Bobby Allison team today. At number 3, which has been so formidable in the early season. Neil, you drove this car, number 3, one time, right? You drove Earnhardt's car. I guess he's running around down on pit road there.
I found out what the deal is.
Neil?
Really good.
Neil Bonnet, Ken Squire.
Ken, before we were talking, I saw Larry McReynolds really getting excited and talking to the NASCAR officials. He's concerned about the 30 car or a lap car running slow on the inside. He's concerned that the car blows up and a caution comes out. They're running strong, but they don't want a caution flag, and he's really concerned about a car running slow on the apron like that.
Thanks for the information. We were just inquiring, isn't it true you drove this number 3 one time for Earnhardt?
Ken, you'll have to come back. I'm sorry, one more time.
It's my understanding that you drove that Earnhardt car at one time.
Oh, I sure did. I was up at Martinsville, and they qualified, and Dale had to go back home. He said, hop in this thing and drive it for me tomorrow. And I told him I really lost a lot of respect for him. That's a heck of a race car, but I was joking with him. Dale gets around. That thing of Richard Childress and Earnhardt is super strong, I tell you.
I understood you told him that they paid him too much for driving a car that was that easy to run.
I told you that when we wasn't on TV. I didn't want Earnhardt crawling on me tomorrow.
Rick Mass has just pitted car number 1. And here's the number 3 car of Earnhardt closing in another time on car number 12, Hut Strickland, as they fight for that 3rd spot. 2nd spot is Waltrip. Davey Allison up in 1st. Mike Joy.
Ken, Mike Waltrip told his crew he could go the distance. They have dropped a cylinder, and now apparently they may have lost another one. NASCAR has black flagged the 30 car, and owner Chet Ryder just walked past on his way to the garage, and I'll bet that's where Michael's headed.
Still out there, still going. Car number 30. But it's all coming apart as he runs in 14th position. Davey Allison continues in the lead. Darrell Waltrip waits in 2nd spot, a couching lion ready to pounce. And 3rd is Strickland, with 4th Earnhardt, 5th Mark Martin, 6th Ernie Irvin, 7th is Schrader, 8th is Elliott, 9th is Ricky Rudd, 10th is Morgan Shepherd, 11th is Gant, 12 is Marlin, 13 is Dale Jarrett, and 14th is Michael Waltrip for the moment. 15th is Mickey Gibbs, 16th is Bobby Hillen, 17th is Dave Marcus, and Rusty Wallace is up to 18th. That's the best that he's shown on the board today. 19th is Joe Rutland, and rounding them out in the 20th position, Terry Labonte.
And since that was on the board, Dale Jarrett has moved around to the Sterling Marlin car and has moved into 12th. His mother and the rest of the family will be glad to hear that. Now, Cuckoo Marlin won't be so happy to hear it back in Columbia, Tennessee. He's the father of Sterling. So we're getting down near the end. There should be 10 laps to go when he comes back in.
Strickland passed Earnhardt 4 laps ago to take that 3rd spot. It may all be for naught. It's Davey Allison, who's won 2 races in every season since '87. Looks like he's ready to stretch this one to 3 this season.
Now, Darrell Waltrip is still out there. He hasn't made this last pit stop. No, he's about to right now as I speak. He was running in 2nd place, but he's coming into the pits. He'll have to take on enough fuel to go the rest of the way. Now, Kenny Schrader, that's going to move him up into 6th place. So that pit stop that he made is going to work well for him as far as putting him up in the field. Now, here's a battle for the 3rd place, as Mark Martin has caught Dale Earnhardt. But let's first go to the pits and Neil Bonnie.
I'll tell you what, Ned, that was about the quickest stop as I've ever seen. Darrell pulled in, he just switched gears. He never got the car stopped, and they give him a shot of fuel, and he's out of here. They're trying to keep that position.
The 6th car, Mark Martin slipping around Dale Earnhardt in number 3. Got to think that the 3 car isn't quite on its feet today as far as the handle's concerned.
Well, he has run good all day, but it's not the form that we saw Earnhardt a year ago when he won this race.
Not that leading edge.
Yeah, but there's a lot of other cars that's running awfully good, too. Maybe he's running as good as he was then, but everybody else runs so much better. Not everybody, but several cars, including Davey Allison and Hut Strickland.
Davey Allison, seeking his 9th Super Speedway win, has him covered by 11 seconds. With 9 to go. Terry Labonte moves in on Jimmy Means at 52.
Yeah, Terry Labonte had been up in the top 10 for a while. He's off the pace. There's Jimmy Means. Jimmy currently being shown in the 28th position. Now, Darrell Waltrip, with that quick pit stop that Neil Bonnet described, has stayed in the number 5 position. Well, no, 7th position they're showing him now. Ken Schrader moved up to 6th. So it's Allison, Strickland, Martin, Earnhardt, Ernie Irvin. 6th is the car number 25 of Ken Schrader and Darrell Waltrip. 7th, Bill Elliott, 8th, and Ricky Rudd, 9th. Those are the 9 cars that are in the lead lap. Morgan Shepherd is 10th, Harry Gant 11th, Dale Jarrett 12th, Sterling Marlin 13th, and 14th, Mickey Gibbs with a good run here today, and 15th is Bobby Hillen.
Let's take a look at Hut Strickland. He's maintaining 2nd spot with that Buick, but Mark Martin is closing in on it. Right behind Hut Strickland, Mark Martin is making a game run to come up and take that 2nd position. Laps are running down, and this is the race for the moment.
It is. Mark is running very, very good now. Whether Hut has slowed down some, don't know, but Mark Martin is running as well as we've seen him run all day.
Remember that Hut Strickland's best career finish was 4th. There's his wife looking on here in August of 1989.
So if he can stay up there in 2nd place, or third place. Even if he gets past, that still would be his best finish ever.
Pam looking a little anxious there. Donnie Allison's daughter, as that number 6 car closes in on Hutt.
Doesn't have many laps to make it up.
Meanwhile, back up front, Davey Allison by 11 seconds continues to lead. The 1987 Rookie of the Year. He won at Talladega, Winston 500 that year. He looks so strong today. That's Davey Allison in that front running position. There's Bobby Allison looking on. Mixed emotions here for him.
Yeah, he's got to be proud, though, that his race car is up there in second place and his son is out there in first place. I don't know where the loyalty would lie in a case like this.
Judy told me that it would always lie with the one who paid for the groceries.
Okay, and that's Bobby, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's his race car out there running in second, yeah.
But Davies making them all proud this afternoon here at Michigan. It is the largest crowd by far in the history of this speedway, enjoying what has been a flawless race for Davey Allison. And he is about to establish a new record for this 2-mile track of over 160-mile-an-hour average for the 400-mile route. 196 in the book, 197 when he takes the line this time. After 3 straight years of engine failures, Robert Yates has given him a horse. He looks like he's going to ride right into the victory lane corral here this afternoon at Michigan.
Bill Elliott back in the pits. Thought that he would have enough fuel to go the rest of the way, but apparently they didn't get enough fuel in it, so he had to come back in to take a splash of fuel. This is going to cost Bill, no question about it. Evidently, they made a little mistake on that when he made his other pit stop.
He was running in 8th when he pitted in the Harry Melling car. Elliott back out another time. So for Davey Allison and for the Alabama crowd, what a day this Michigan race is going to turn out to be. First and second, Ford can take home another victory. Buick will be second today. Mark Martin third if it stays the way it is. But you better wait until they wave that checker before you call it a race. Here's Joe Ruttman's number 75. It's being shown in 19th position. Doyle Ford telling those lap cars to move out of the way and let them through. You crossed fingers down there, Ned.
Crossed fingers, crossed arms, and whatever else, I guess. That's Larry McReynolds we just saw there, the crew chief. Came on board with them back about the 1st of April.
And what a change he has made. He used to be a competitor of Allison's. He built the Bobby Ray Jones cars. Dave Mader and Mike Alexander drove in Mobile and Pensacola, Birmingham. And now they're together, and I think he has made a real difference with this Robert Yates organization. Larry McReynolds, who for several years was the crew chief and the mastermind on the Kenny Bernstein car.
I don't think there's any question but what he has made a big difference. And Davey is quick to tell you that, too. He said he brought so much stability among the personnel there. Everybody likes Larry McReynolds, and he's a sharp individual. Came over from the Kenny Bernstein team, as we said, back about the 1st of April.
By 11, this will be one of the biggest leads anyone has ever enjoyed at this track, and it's still about 11 seconds. Can you imagine that?
And it's one of the biggest leads we've seen in a while in Winston Cup racing.
400 miles, and 11 seconds will settle it at the end of the distance, and it will be Davey Allison one more time as he comes around. Checkers are about to be unfurled, and the winner of the Michigan 400 is Davey Allison. Davey Allison scoring his 11th Winston Cup success, his 9th Super Speedway victory. A big time for Robert Yates and company. 11.6 the difference. Here's Mike Joy.
And I'm with a happy Bobby Allison, because, Bobby, today you win either way, Davey or Hutt, but there's only one way you go to the bank.
Well, it was a great day for us. Davey ran a nice race, but Hutt had that Ray Bestis Buick right up there, and I was really happy with that.
You got to be thrilled. What a job he did to hold off Mark Martin there those last 2 laps. What a job he did to hold off Mark Martin those last 2 laps.
really did a nice job. We were watching him. We weren't saying much, but we were watching him. He did a nice job.
Well, I'll tell you, he learned from one of the masters.
And we'll be back to meet the winner of the Michigan 400, Davey Allison, in just a moment here this afternoon. Davey Allison's won it, the Michigan 400. Davey Allison has recorded his third point-counting victory of the season with a car that's already collected some $700,000 this season. That's the same car that won the Winston 600, and the winner is standing by with Chris Economack.
Well, here's the happy face of the winner. You had a great day, Davey, but who gave you the most trouble?
Well, I tell you what, you know, Dale was awful tough there in the early goings, and then here come that number 12 car, you know, and I kind of had mixed emotions about seeing him up there. It looked good to see Dad's car up there leading with Hutt driving, but I'm glad he finished second instead of first.
Well, you drove a fine race. It was a crash-free race. You looked great, but, you know, around between the 40th and the 50th lap, Davey, you and Dale hooked up in a colossal speed duel that'll be talked about for months to come. What were going through your mind there, door handle to door handle? Once ran up, you gave him a little bit of shove from behind, didn't you?
Well, you know, I got on the outside of him going into one, and we rubbed a little bit, so I just nudged him a little bit down the back straightaway to let him know I was still there and I hadn't gone anywhere. But Dale's a tough competitor, and I had a lot of fun out there racing him today. And, you know, it's just a great win for our Texaco Haviland Thunderbird and Robert Yates Racing, all the guys. You know, Larry McReynolds, I can't say enough about getting him over here, but these guys are the best in the business, and we got our eyes on the championship. We got a long ways to go, and we're going to try to win as many of them as we can.
Everybody seems to say that Davey Allison, the number 28 Haviland car, has the best engine in the business. Is that right?
I think so. But I got to hand it to Robert Yates and Larry Wallace and all the guys that work in the engine shop, because when I mash on this thing, I got to have it pointed where I want to be going, or else I'm going to have my hands full.
Well, when the race started, Davey, were you right for the track, or were you stuck by that rain yesterday?
Well, the car was off a little bit. We made some very minor adjustments, and it just came right to us. The track came to us all day long.
Okay, thanks and good luck. Now let's go to Mike Joy.
Thank you, Chris. These two fellas standing here finished just about this close together. Mark Martin, you sure had a strong run at Hutt there, those closing laps.
Well, it was really great. The Folgers Valvoline Thunderbird was super. The guys were awesome in the pits all day. We probably, you know, we waited a little bit too long to get right on the money, but we did get right on the money. Nobody was going to mess with Davey, I don't think, today, but, you know, we got behind it, didn't make up our... I just told Hutt, we were out of time when we got there. It was over, so... but they had a great run, and you know, I wish Hutt could have won the race, really.
You had a good run, too. Congratulations. Hutt Strickland, I guess we're not surprised that you having these kind of runs anymore. This is getting to be kind of routine. Congratulations.
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, all the credit's got to go to these guys who work on this robustest Tic-Tac Buick. You know, they've just done a super job for me all year, trying to, you know, working themselves to death, trying to get me in a good car. And, you know, it seemed like today they proved it for me, and I was able to go out and run good.
Best career finish ever.
Well, you know, it's really kind of funny. My other best career finish happened here at Michigan, but that deal was kind of a luck deal. This deal, we kind of raced for it, and it makes me feel good.
What is the difference? I mean, you came along, you had a couple of good runs last year. You looked strong the start of the season, but suddenly you're right there every Sunday, a contender.
Well, you know, it just seemed like our whole team has just really come together. The communications on the team has gotten better, and not that it was bad before, but it's just one of them deals we're just growing and growing, and the thing just seems to be getting better.
Well, a great run today. And Ken, if there was a most improved driver award on this circuit, I think this fellow would have already clinched it for 91.
And for some, a lump in the throat, remembering 1988 when it was Bobby Allison and Davey Allison in the Daytona 500 1 and 2. Today, Bobby Allison's car comes home second. Just take a look at these standings. Here are the top five as Davey Allison wins it and breaks the old speed record by 7 miles an hour. Hutt Strickland second, Martin third. We'll have more in a moment from Michigan.
This CBS Sports Special, the Michigan 400, has been sponsored by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? Goodyear, the unanimous choice of every single team that races in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. And by the big taste of Miller Genuine Draft Light. Big draft taste comes to life.
The celebration continues for Davey Allison, who led 107 of 200 laps and won himself some $90,650 of that $700,000 payoff. With another one of the stars of today's race, here's Mike Joy.
Well, Ken, Ernie Irvin started toward the back, but you came to the front in a hurry.
I tell you, this Kodak car was running awful good today.
once we got to the front, there was 5 or 6 cars running the same speed we were, and couldn't do a whole lot with them, but we're pretty happy with a 5th place run right now.
Daytona 500 winner, Talladega coming up next on CBS. What are your fortunes there?
Well, I tell you, our restrictor plate program is really good, and we're looking forward to that. We got Daytona and Talladega, and we had a really good handling car at Daytona, and we think we can go to Talladega, and when it's real hot like that, we need a good handling car again, and we think we can give them a good run for it.
Okay, good run today. We're going to get home for supper.
That's it. Yeah, I can be home by about 8 or 9, huh?
Okay, quick day here today for Ernie Irvan, among others.
That Talladega Die Hard 500, July 28th, right here on CBS. Take a look at the point standings, Ned, after today, and moved up to 4th, Ernie Irvan.
Well, Earnhardt stretched his lead a little bit over Ricky Rudd. He now has a 138-point lead.
And Davey Allison stays where he was in the point standings, as that stays really tight in the battle, as it always does at this time of year. Coming up July 6th, they'll be at Daytona for that 400-miler there. Then July 21st on to Pocono, and July the 28th down at Talladega on that 2.6-mile high bank. A scorching day always in a scorching race. We hope you'll be with us for that. August the 11th, one of our favorites up there at Watkins Glen, New York. Again, the final results on today's race. Davey Allison does it. He wins here at Michigan big time. An 11-second advantage. Lots of series. 11 seconds is considered really
racing,
close, and here it's one of the biggest advantages we've ever seen. Ken Schrader came home in 6th. Darrell Waltrip ended up in 7th. Bill Elliott fell from 9th to 11th late in the going. Dale Jarrett had a good run, found himself in 12th. Looking further back, good to see Larry Pearson, David Pearson's son, getting a 20th place finish. The rookie Ted Musgrave had himself a 26th on today's call, and Wally Dallenbach was up in there in the story. Richard Petty, again, back in 35th spot.
He had a problem, fell out of the race, yeah.
So that's the story, and we're delighted you were with us to enjoy all of this afternoon. It was fun being here at Michigan another time for the 23rd annual. Again, 9 cars retired. The last retirees were Jimmy Spencer, Michael Waltrip, Richard Petty from this 400-mile race. Neil Bonnet, let's get a quick word from him.
Darrell, the 13 didn't come across today. You're going to have to try another number.
Oh, heck, I wore it out. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to start working on number 1. That's what we're going to do from now on. The heck with that 13 stuff.
You've done a bunch of those ones. I'll get some more of them.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Neil. We had a good day.
Thank you, Darrell.
So for Chris Economaki, Ned Jarrett, Mike Joy, and Neil Bonnet, I'm Ken Squire saying so long from Brooklyn, Michigan. Stay tuned for Sports Sunday featuring the finals of the Coca-Cola Reebok Hoop to Hoop coming up from Las Vegas. And join us next Saturday, Major League Baseball, as most of the country will see a Midwestern matchup. St. Louis Cardinals take on the Chicago Cubs, or Boston visits Baltimore. That'll be followed by third-round action of the Federal Express St. Jude Classic from Germantown, Tennessee. Michigan 400 has been a presentation of CBS Sports.